Today's episode of the Bill Simmons podcast brought to you by ZipRecruiter. You know it's not smart? Doing an entire episode of Parent Corner where you find out what a terrible parent Sal and I are, but we're doing it anyway. You know what else isn't smart? Job sites that are overwhelming with tons of the wrong resumes. Luckily, there's a smart way at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. They find people with the right skills for your job. They actively invite them to apply. Right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/BS. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. We're also brought to you by State Farm. State Farm has over 19,000 agents across the country. 19,000, a huge number, but it's not really about the number. It's about having a real person who's nearby, someone you can talk to and get personalized help protecting what matters most, combining the purchase of your home and auto insurance. Never easy, but it is easy with the help of a real-life State Farm agent. Go to statefarm.com/agent to find an agent today. We are brought to you, as always, by TheRinger.com, the world's greatest website, as well as the Ringer Podcast Network and our slew of awesome podcasts. This one that you're about to hear, Sal and I, every Sunday night, we did football. We did guest lines, broke down what happened that week in the NFL. And at the end of each podcast, we did a thing we called Parent Corner, which is the second year of this, actually, where we each told a story about something that happened with our kids. People liked it. We kept doing it. Last year, we did a kind of a compilation podcast of all those stories. Really, this allows me to just send the link to my mom, to the moms on my daughter's soccer team who would never listen to my podcast. I can be like, you can listen to this one. It's Parent Corner. And then they're super happy and they can talk to me about it. And I have something to talk about when I'm at these games for an entire weekend. I can talk about Parent Corner with the moms of my team and some of the dads too. Although I don't know if the dads, feels like they fake listen to the pods. I don't know if they actually listen. I think the moms are more loyal to the podcast. Anyway, Parent Corner is coming up right now. It's time for Parent Corner.
Oh,
America's favorite segment is back. You go first.
I'll go first. Mine's half parent related and half just weird story to me. So Saturday night, I'm at home. My son's got a fantasy draft. He asked all his friends to be in it, and he's got 9 slots filled, and he's got one more, and the draft is like at 8 o'clock. I was like, well, what are you going to do about this last slot? He's like, I don't know. At 4 o'clock, he's like, I don't know. I was like, well, what are you talking about? This would drive me crazy. You need to be on the phone. You need to be pushing this. Dude, get it going. Get this last. He's like, I will, you know, they barely speak. 6 o'clock, it's still not full. I was like, I'm not doing this because I'm in 3 leagues, but why don't you ask my friend Harry? Harry gets along with the kids. Well, Harry from Against All Odds.
Yeah.
He'll want to do it. Sure enough, Harry's ready. He's not doing anything on a Saturday night. What could he be doing? So Harry is going to jump in. So my son goes upstairs to do his draft, and there's a knock at the door. Pretty loud knock, and I open it up, and it's like 10 high school kids, bigger than my son. And it's kind of, you know, around 9 o'clock at night. It's a little menacing, having a group of guys, half of them bigger than you, at the door. And I was like, hey, I was like, can I help you? And they're like, yeah. I was like, this is going to sound weird, but we know you're a football fan, and we need one more person for our fantasy league, and it's drafting like in an hour. Would you want to join with us?
What?
I was like, oh, Jesus, thank God you're not robbing me. But on the other hand, you somehow know me and that I live here. And no, I'm not doing this. Get the hell away from me, kind of thing. No, I let them off easy, but I was like, this is so strict. This is the sports nerd version of Christmas caroling in 2018. So, yeah, I don't know. So beware of knocking the door. It could be kids asking you to join a fantasy draft.
That's unbelievable.
I had to go through it in my head a bunch of times because the coincidence and organizing other fantasy drafts, it was so strange to me. But no one, as far as I could tell, put them up to it.
My Parent Corner, my daughter's now 13.
Yeah.
Everybody warned me that for the next 7 to 10 years, my wife and daughter would like genuinely detest each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's no way my daughter, like you've heard her on the podcast. She's such a sweetheart. There's no way.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Everybody was right.
No.
It's just, I don't know what it is, but the mom-daughter thing, you're going to miss out. You had 3 sons, one of whom is going to be living with Ken and Harry soon in Arizona, as we found out
At least
last week.
one. Yeah.
It's just, it starts out with an eye roll. An eye roll coming from my daughter, just flies one out, little dagger over something minor, followed by my wife overreacting to the eye roll, followed by my daughter then overreacting to the overreaction to the eye roll.
Nice.
And then it just goes back and forth. And Ben and I just sit there and it's like, we're just kind of there as they go at it for 5 to 6 minutes. We had the soccer tournament this week and we're at the hotel. We're having lunch on a Saturday. Beautiful day. It's between games. They won the first game. Everybody's in a good mood. And within 10 minutes, my wife got up and left. Literally left half of her food on the thing. She's like, I can't take it anymore. I don't like the person you've become. And just gets up and leaves. My daughter's now crying. And my son and I are just looking at each other like, hey, so you excited for the Little League season? And it's like all minor stuff. And I don't know. I've just never been in this situation before.
It's going to get worse when
boys
TMZ
get involved
comes out with the cameras right on the heels of I don't like the person you've become. And asking what she meant by that. Oh, no.
Yeah, and what it comes down to is she doesn't like that my daughter straightens her hair with the hair iron and then leaves the hair iron and the curling iron, then leaves the curling iron on in the bathroom. And my wife accidentally touched her hand and hurt her hand because my daughter's sloppy. And it's just like...
Do they share a curling iron? I mean, it seems like this could be solved for like $14 or something.
It really does. But then you talk to the other moms and it's just like World War III with 13-year-old girls and their moms. It's just across the board. It's not just my family. And it really feels like this should be a podcast where like survivors, you have survivors of terrible events. It's just survivors of people from families with 13-year-old girls and their wives.
Yeah.
Where
it's like Real Housewives, but it focuses more on the mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah, like I could tell the story about when, you know, some story that led to somebody storming off, and then I get to hear, maybe it's like rehab, where people go to like Alcoholics Anonymous. Me and Ben go to these things where people just tell stories, and then we all feel better about our situations. It's like, oh, this happened to everybody. So yeah, I don't know what the next few years of my life are like, but
well, I have Dr. Drew's number if you guys want to talk it out.
My wife also yelled at my daughter recently that she dresses like a Russian. Was one of her insults. If you want to wear that, that's fine. You look like a Russian, which I guess is insulting. Do Russians dress certain way?
I guess so. I mean, it depends if it's Vladimir Putin, or one of the weightlifters, you don't want to be compared to that.
Nephew Kyle, you've been caught in the crossfire a couple times.
I'm pretty held in high regards on both sides, and I like to
you really
keep
are.
It that
You're
way.
like Nephew Kyle's like the favorite member of the Simmons family now.
Yeah.
So hoping
he does it just right.
Anyway, send us emails at themailbag@theringer.com if you have any advice how to deal with a 13-year-old daughter and a mom. And I feel like I really lucked out with my daughter too. So if it's happening with my daughter, it's happening everywhere. Because I see some of the
she's great.
I see some of the Instagram that's going on now. Some of the Instagram games, some of these pictures kids her age are posting. I'm like, I actually feel like I lucked out so far, but we'll see. Anyway, check it out. The mailbag at theringer.com. Let's do Parent Corner, America's favorite segment.
Oh, yeah.
Still no sponsor. You go first. I have a good one this week.
All right. I have two. I'll do this one. So my son, he's 4 years old, and he started soccer this weekend.
Yes, I saw the pictures. I was hoping this would be Parent Corner.
Yeah. So he's, I'm going to say this. He loves playing basketball. We have a Nerf hoop at the house, and he's always like watching TV. He like throws the ball. He's taking shots while he's watching like Boss Baby or whatever he's watching, but he's always taking shots. I was like, that's great. He loves playing Little League baseball. He started this year. He was one of the better hitters on the team. If we go to the beach, he has to bring a wiffle ball and a wiffle ball bat. He gets it. He connects there. So we figured he'd be decent at soccer. What do you do as a 4-year-old? There's no goalie. You have the ball, you kick it, and you run down the field.
Well, he's
No.
he's built a little bit like my son. Like he's just like kind of a block of granite.
Yeah. A little husky guy. Yeah. So I thought everything was going to be good. He gets there, and I see him like lining up like as a field goal kicker for kicks. He's kicking and he's falling on his ass backwards. I'm like, Harrison, what are you doing? He's like, I'm kicking the ball. He's getting mad at me for coaching. I was like, all right. So this goes on the whole game. Now, because he's falling, like, have you ever seen 4-year-olds play soccer?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of spacing. There's not spacing. So they run in a herd. And if you fall, you're in trouble. And he fell 3 times. He got stepped on his arm, on his ankle, and on his face. And I'm not like, and I'm not like you could see the cleat marks, and they were legit every time. So he's crying, and then I feel like the a-hole father has to go on the field and lift him up. I'm like, no, you're not coming out. Just keep playing. 6 minutes left. We could do this. Get in there. And he hates it. He doesn't like it. He keeps falling and getting hurt. And to make it worse, his 10-year-old brother, who hates him, they hate each other, is calling him out anytime he would almost touch the ball with his hand. He's like, he touched the ball with his hand. He's like telling the rep coach, he's tattling on him. Like, all right, can you get control of yourself here? This is not the way it's going to be every week. And then the other team has a kid who's good. I think the other team had like a 6-year-old on there, and he's scoring like every 2 minutes. So it's like 7-1. And it occurred to me, Harrison, my kid's crying, and he like wants to walk off the field. And it occurred to me, oh yeah, because on his iPad, any game he plays, if he's losing even 1-0, whatever it is, he'll just turn it off. He'll restart it.
Yeah.
You can't do that in life, right?
No.
So soccer is not his sport. And you know what? Then I was thinking about it. And I was thinking about you and your daughter. I was like, you know what? I'm glad soccer's not his sport. I don't want him on a club team.
You escaped
I don't want to give up my Sunday and go to travel 6 hours to some uninhabitable part of California and waste a day. So there you go.
You're a big winner. So you went.
That's right. I'm a quitter. He's a quitter.
Your family went 0 for 3 with soccer. You missed it
completely. We did.
Yeah. I had 2 different experiences with that, because my daughter, who we always could tell from like jungle gym days was going to be a good athlete, and we put her in soccer, and she was immediately one of the best ones. And it was like, in those games, there's always that one kid on each team that's just, you can just tell. And she was the kid on that team. And it was great. It's like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And then when my son went to play soccer, it was the opposite. He was completely selfish, would get mad if somebody else on his own team scored, and it was a disaster. And he lasted 1 game and he quit. And we have the one picture of him in the jersey, and that's the only record of him ever playing soccer. So
wow.
I've had both sides of it. Speaking of my son, so I get this text from my wife on Friday. Call me. And I'm in the middle of a meeting. I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, it's about Ben. And I think something terrible's happened.
Oh,
so I'm like, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you back? And she's like, it's not a bad thing. Actually, just FaceTime him.
Oh.
So now I'm like, what the hell possibly could have happened? Like, the only really things that have happened in his life is like he made a travel baseball team. So he already made the team. I didn't know what else. It's not like his life's that interesting. I didn't know what else could have happened. So I FaceTime him, and he tells me he broke up with his girlfriend. Their torrid 9-month affair is no longer.
Now he is how old? Those people who don't know.
He turns 11 in November.
Okay.
And has had this.
Is he broken up by? Is he all?
So they've been on dates. They've had like 4 dates where my wife took him, and she really likes this girl's mom. And they would go, and the 2 kids would go to the movies, and they would go drink wine next door. And they really liked everybody. And it was like one of those things where it was like these 2 like each other. Like, this could be it. They might actually get married. Like, who the hell knows?
Mm-hmm.
Ben's second day in school, his friend, who also has a girlfriend in class, breaks up with that girl. And like 2 hours later, Ben breaks up with his. And so on FaceTime is telling me, everybody's single now. Like, it's like 5th grade's going to be a party. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You sound like a lunatic. You're 10. And was all fired up. And then, so when I got home, I got the full story, which is that this other guy, his buddy Lucci, also broke up. And Lucci. So so we were calling him George all weekend because it was like the Seinfeld episode where
Yeah.
Jerry breaks up, but George stay, and then George has to get married, and you're
Right.
saying he didn't want to be George. So he was all excited that I'm too young to have a girlfriend, doing that whole thing. And then they texted all weekend, and who the hell knows? They're probably back together by the time.
Oh, he might be back.
People, I don't know. This just runs in my family because you have nephew Kyle over here, who is now, he's back on, and it might be my wife, might be the blood on her side. It's just like these on again,
really?
off again relationships.
Calling me right now.
Yeah, Kyle's girlfriend's calling him right now, wondering where the hell he is. But I'm
wondering if like Ben, probably thought like, maybe he's got a little Lenny Dykstra in him. He's on the traveling baseball team. He's like, I don't want to be tied down.
Maybe
and
he's looking older. I don't know. So anyway, the moral of the story is he's a lunatic, and I don't know what to tell you. And
that's the moral of the story. I love it.
my wife's like, call me. Like I really thought something awful had happened, and it was my 10-year-old son broke up with his girlfriend.
Right.
They're 10.
That's excellent.
So yeah, that's my parent corner for this week. It's really getting exciting in the Simmons house.
Nice. I can't believe no one will sponsor this.
Yeah, how can they not sponsor that? 10-year-old love. And the two moms are texting each other all weekend because they're devastated.
Oh, really?
They're like, we should still go. We'll still go out. We don't need the kids. It's turning into that. They're more upset than the kids are. So anyway, good run, 9-month run, long relationship. And then also today he saw nephew Kyle and taunted nephew Kyle about how he broke up with his girlfriend, but Kyle wouldn't. That was actual taunt.
So does Kyle feel pressure, or does he just blow it off?
No, Kyle beat the hell out of him. He threw him in the pool. He's not going to take crap from Ben. Ben's like 4 feet tall.
But he's got about 8 months before he could not beat the hell out of him. Right?
No, they're definitely back together. I refuse to believe this breakup stands, and she's probably going to dump him 20 times.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the fact that there's a feud with your 10-year-old son and your 4-year-old son?
I don't know if we should. It's bad. I mean, my 10-year-old is not, it's our fault. He was not meant to be a middle child. And there's a big gap between them. And, he just doesn't understand. Like, you can't tell him, like, your brother's 4. Like, why are you getting upset? He's like, he doesn't ever learn anything. Yeah, because he's 4. Like,
right.
We can't make any progress with that. But, they did not like each other at all.
Should you have a loser leave town match with them?
Unfortunately, I'm the loser because I don't know how to handle it.
Maybe you should leave town. Have a match and the loser leaves town and you're the loser and you'll just leave.
By the way, he doesn't even want to lose. He just wants to leave town anyway. I told you, he wants to live with Ken and Harry.
Yeah, that's true. You got to update us on that during the season. I do think there is something about the kids not learning how to lose thing is an issue because, like my son was playing, he learned how to play WWE, whatever the 2K game. He would play 2 players, but he would be in control of both controllers. So he's just playing against this person who's not there and beating the hell out of the other person. I'm like, how is this good? How are you? I'm learning how to do moves. But you're not competing. Like you're not learning how to win and lose. I don't know. Maybe this.
Yeah, I don't like my son will play Madden on the Madden mobile, and like he'll play against the Steelers, let's say, and Roethlisberger throws, and you see Brown open in the end zone, and it's like a race to restart the game before Antonio Brown catches it because he doesn't want to go down 7-0. I was like, no, you're going to play this out. You're going to lose, but that's only when I'm around. So I know they're shutting it off, and then. Yeah, this is how it rears its ugly head in real life. That's
a benefit for Fortnite because in Fortnite, you can't quit. You get killed, and then your game's over.
Oh,
there's no way. There's no way to really rally from that. Parent corner. Let's hear it.
I have an annoying one. It's actually a double parent corner because it involves one of my parents, my mother, who was playing cards with my 12-year-old boy. And, she's bragging about her girlfriend. She says, girl, on East Coast, the older women refer to their friends as girlfriends if they're women. So she says, my girlfriend's daughter, Darcy, has a house next to Tom Brady. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And I said, what does her husband do? She's like, he's in junk bonds. He's in junk. I was like, okay, we'll see how long that lasts. And then I was like, well, maybe Archie can become a football player and, be a Tom Brady and then live in a giant house. Like, oh, please, he's not playing football. Now, keep in mind, I have now fought with my wife, and I broke her down to a point where my son is going to play tackle football next year because Tony Romo told us he doesn't need to. Romo went behind my back, or not really, but to our face said, nah, you don't need to play. He doesn't need to play that early. So he could play 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So that was the compromise.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, just play. It's one of the greatest things I've ever done. It's a great experience. 4 years, we won't even get on the field in the first year, whatever. You're not going to scramble your brain. It'll be fine. My mother goes into the whole crazy thing. She's now turned my wife back around to now he's not playing football. Like, I don't know how our listeners feel about their kids playing football anyway, but I had it locked down, and now I have to start all over again with this because her friend Darcy, she had to brag about having a house next to Tom Brady and opened a whole can of worms, and I don't know what to do now.
So what's the line? What's the line for Archie over under when he plays football? I have I'll make the line 9th grade.
9th grade and a half?
Eighth grade and a half.
8th grade and a half?
Yeah.
No, I think 9th grade. I'm going to get it. I have to work on a plan now. If anyone has any ideas of how to, I think my mother just has to shut her mouth. But other than that, I have to figure this out.
So
let Ben play or no?
I mean, Ben is 10. He has more muscle than I do. He does flips off his bunk bed and wrestles dummies and is just a generally dangerous, reckless kid. And the thing is, like, I think I would let him play in high school only because he's going to find something else. He's going to find something where he puts himself in danger. Kyle, you agree with me? What adds up Ben just avoiding some sort of dangerous something? It's 100 to 1.
Yeah.
He's going to do
put money
something.
on that for sure.
He's kind of made for football.
Keeps him off the street, right?
I have a football success story for you, Sal.
Go ahead.
My buddy Sully, the MVP of my wedding, he has 2 sons, Aiden and Keegan. They go to Situate High. Aiden is the quarterback and has been the quarterback for 3 years. This is his 3rd year. Keegan, 9th grader, makes the team. He's playing wide receiver and kick returner. He's only, I think, the 2nd freshman that's made the team. QB wide receiver starting on the same team. How about that?
Wow, that's great.
In my Facebook and Instagram feeds, just happy pictures of 2 handsome guys with their arms around each other and their mom after football games. Girls knocking on the door. It's just everything you've read about.
I love it.
Yeah, so there's a football success story.
My friend Darren, the parlay kid, his son is the star quarterback of our my high school football team, as the parlay kid was 30 years ago. They beat the defending champs last week, and here's something else. The parlay kid is a guardian for another kid who is the wide receiver for the team. So not exactly the same story, but
almost
interesting.
Yeah, and that's a happy thing.
There you go. I need to see. My mother needs to hear more about this.
I am
the junk bonds.
I am anti-youth football. I'm anti-youth football, but I do think once you get to like 15, 16, you know, what can you do? I mean, my daughter's played soccer her whole life. We've had a couple kids got concussions playing soccer, you know, the headers and stuff. What sport is safe? Baseball, you get hit by a pitch. Basketball, I could get elbowed. I can get a concussion. Like any sport, there's things. The thing is, like with football, some of the collisions are pretty scary. And I think as, you know, I'm definitely rethinking high school football at least. I will not change my mind on youth football. I just don't think it should exist. But what do I know?
You'll love high school football. You'll love watching it. It was great to play it. I really, I'm so glad I did it. And this is all going to be very sad when something bad happens. God forbid. But no.
My parent corner, you know, I had 2 last week and I only got to use 1. The other one was we were hanging out outside, Kyle and I, with Ben, and Kyle was doing like it because he's not smoking lately, so he's doing like a little vape, and Ben was curiously looking at the vape and asked Kyle, how old does he have to be for when he can start vaping? And I had a heart attack, and then Kyle revived me. And then
wait a minute, what's the answer?
What was the answer, Kyle?
There was never.
The answer was never.
My stomach was in my asshole because he just saw me doing it, so I felt partly
good
responsible.
Answer. Then led to a series of questions about when he could drink,
sex,
have sex, and he just started interrogating us on all these different things. And We bumped the ages as high as we possibly could.
Mid-30s, what do we say? 25, 30? What do we
He just gets this light in his eye every time anything comes up of like partying, girls, any sort of immoral behavior, and you just light in his eye.
The gears are turning, yeah.
I'm just frightened. I'm just scared.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not good.
And this is before Kyle had the tattoo, right? That's going to be another question.
Oh, he asked you questions about that tattoo, too. Yeah, it's not great, so. It's not great.
Yeah. You're going to have to let him have sex soon, I think.
I don't think I have a choice. He probably has. It's probably already happened. Oh my God, Sal. What are we gonna do? Let's do parent corner. You go first.
All right. Okay, so my middle kid, the 10-year-old, Jack.
Yeah. He wants to live with Ken and Harry.
He wants to live with Ken and Harry. He doesn't like the circumstances around here. And one of the things he doesn't like is we make him do something. So, like, when he quit piano, like, all right, you have to do something. What are you going to do? You're going to swim? He did swimming for a minute, didn't like it. I was like, how about Taekwondo? He's like a 57-pound weakling. You know, he has no interest in sports otherwise. He played baseball, didn't like it. So we get him to do Taekwondo mainly because I kept saying, your 4-year-old brother who you hate is getting big and strong, and you want to be able to take care of yourself. And my wife didn't hear me say this because she would be mad that this was the pretense which I got him to agree to take Taekwondo. But he took it, and I'm not around because I'm working. So my wife takes him to the lessons, and they give you like a belt every 2 or 3 months. It seems like you get a belt. You test for a belt.
Just new colors, that like a turquoise.
Yeah, you get all the colors. It's what does it start? It's like yellow, orange. He's had green, but now he hates it. Now he can't stand it. And he's just going through the motions, and he's going through the testing, and he's barely. You have to break a board with a different strike or a different kick every time you test for a new belt. In addition to going through all these cadences and everything, and he's breaking the boards on like 4 attempts, and so. Now he doesn't like it. He doesn't want to do it. He's like, I'm going to stop at blue belt. I'm like, no, you have to do it. And he's like, he really puts up a fight. And he's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Then my wife tells me how much this costs. And it's like $75 a lesson. He's going twice a week. And I know people think I'm made of money. And I was before this Patriots game tonight. But that's not the case. So I was like, $75 a lesson. I was like, wow, what is it to test? When they test you, it's $250. It's like, yeah, of course they're making him test every 2 months when he's not ready to go from belt to belt. And of course, this all makes sense now. I was like, all right, tell the teacher this is it. He's getting his blue belt. He's probably not going to – he's going to have to do a spinning back kick to break the board. So you're not even really looking at the board now. And he has to do that. He has to break that. A board that he can't really break on 4 attempts otherwise. Okay, so now he's testing for the blue belt. And the sensei knows this is his last thing. What does he do? He goes up there. He breaks the board on the first chance.
Oh, no.
And in addition to that, he gets a trophy for best student, a big trophy, like 3 feet tall, like almost his height. And you know what happens? He wants to freaking stay with Taekwondo. And now every lesson is now $90, and to test is like $290. They know what they're doing. In fact, I think they rigged the board. I think the board they scored the board.
It's like that.
And he broke it. He broke an already broken board.
It was like the Hell in the Cell when they messed with the cage so mankind would go through it.
Yes,
Same thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's chicanery.
Now it's like $340 to test.
Taekwondo sounds like one of the biggest Ponzi schemes we have.
Yeah. It's right up there. It's a huge, huge money grab. I mean, this kid's going to be a black belt, and he's going to get blown over by a light fall wind.
Well, at some point, maybe you're going to be like in Mexico or something, and muggers come, and then maybe that's when you'll find out if this Taekwondo is a really good idea.
Maybe, that's how the children's book version of my life ends. But he's probably just going to crack his 4-year-old brother in the skull, and that'll be that.
Jack will come in like Mr. Miyagi and just clean out all of the robbers. So,
well, there's nothing to rob because I have no money because it's all gone to the Taekwondo.
My wife went to Boston this weekend, and so I had to be Mr. Dad all weekend, which is great for the kids. There's just a lot of like, all right, it's do what you want. Hey, let's get Postmates. A lot of that's going on. Last night, my son and I watched the first Purge. My son loves the Purge.
Nice.
And by the way, not appropriate for a 10-year-old. I don't really care. We've passed the point of no return.
Yeah, we know you don't care. That's one thing we learned from Parent Corner.
Yeah, I don't care.
You don't care.
First Purge was really great. It really delivered the goods. So anyway, he had a doubleheader today because he's playing travel baseball now. And our team, I think, is AA, but Southern California is really good, and they have teams in the majors, AAA. So we're in this tournament, and we're playing AAA teams. So already, my guard's kind of up. Like, this might not go great today. Get there. We left the house at like 7:30. We get there. The game's at like 8:45, 9 o'clock. And they're like, Ben's going to start for us. This game 1. So now Ben's pitching, comes in. First batter, swings late, hits a liner over the second baseman's head, gets on. Steals second, steals third. Ben bucks. I didn't even see it. I thought it was a shaky call by the ump who was making $20 to be at this game and be stink-eyed by the parents. And he's just never the same after that. Ends up he gets yanked in the second inning. Tears in his eyes as he's leaving. You're just watching as the parent. You're like, oh my God, please don't be the one that melts down on the mound. And you know, little do I know that every pitcher we have is going to get shelled. And we get mercy ruled within an hour. Then the next game of the doubleheader comes. Then we have all this time to kill. I have my AirPods in. I'm watching football on my iPhone, trying to watch the Red Zone channel and these other things while popping my head up and seeing a lot of the baseball game, but also listening to the football and pretending to be
a good dad. It's the same team again, or it's a different team?
Different team comes in.
Okay.
They also kill us, and we get mercy ruled again. And now we're driving home at noon. And Ben's bitching and he's mad and he hasn't eaten. And he's like, I'm never pitching again. I'm like, really? You're going to not pitch it? Every pitcher you had got shelled today. And we're going back and forth. He's like, no, I'm not pitching. No, that balk rule is stupid. I'm not pitching. And we're just going back and forth. And I'm yelling at him and he's yelling at me. And it ends with me yelling at him, I gave up football for you today. An actual quote that came out of my mouth. Driving 75 miles an hour. On the 60 West, whatever it was.
What did he say to that?
I think he
doesn't give a crap.
No, I think he came back with, just watch football every Sunday. I don't want you to come. I want Mom to come. And we're just like yelling at each other.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was one of those.
These kids, I'll tell you what, this is your fault because you show them these movies and it teaches them how to argue back these movies. I don't even think they learn it in school.
Yeah,
it's these dumb movies and it's YouTube. And this is how they fight back. And yeah, now your feelings are hurt.
Yeah, the move is always just to say the other parent's better. You like the other parent more. He actually said, I pitch better when Mom's there. I'm like, all I do is sit there. I don't say anything other than yell to throw strikes. So anyway, we hashed it out about 6-7 hours later. But
that's good.
Yeah. So anyway, I did miss football today. I had to watch it on my iPhone. I lost a lot of bets. My fantasy wasn't very satisfying, and I didn't really enjoy it. We got mercy ruled twice. So thanks for that, Ben. I love travel baseball. Let's keep going. 2 more next week.
Have him join Taekwondo. He'll have 8 belts in like 3 days. You won't have to drive anywhere.
The mercy rule, I wish we had that like in other forms of life.
What is it, 10 runs after 3 innings, or what is it?
I think it has to get to like 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're talking here. We lost like 15-4 and like 15-6. The problem is
score 15. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is they get on base. These kids are 10. Nobody has like Johnny Bench behind the plate. You get on base, you're running.
Yeah, you just advance.
I will tell you that it's fun to watch him. I'm glad he's baseball, but I am still pro soccer. It's over in an hour. It's great. You know when the game's starting, you show up, it's outdoors, game's done in an hour. I want to have
tough. You're worried your kid's going to get slammed in the face with a line drive. For some reason it's colder than everywhere else as a spectator sport.
It has the most
shivering.
Yeah, baseball has the most moments where you just go, "What are you fucking stupid?" Like you just want to yell that at every kid because it's a lot of like brain farts and somebody forgetting that the runner could tag or somebody getting caught off, and it just constantly reinforces that 10-year-old boys make bad decisions. but still super enjoyable. Soccer, it's really easy to blend in and just make mistakes, and only people who are really sophisticated would know,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shouldn't have been offsides on that. It's like you'd have to actually, in baseball, the ball goes through your legs. It's like, oh, that guy's a dumbass. He should have been over.
Yeah. Fun. For me, it's safety. I have the 4-year-old playing soccer, and there's not a lot of spacing in 4-year-old soccer. So as soon as someone falls, they're getting cleated in the hand and in the arm, and there's tears. So just want that to happen less than 5 times in an hour.
It's a big pig pile. At some point, I'm going to have, I think maybe in February, I'm going to have a special podcast where I rank. I'm going to have multiple parents involved. I'm going to produce it ahead of time, and I'm going to power rank the worst sports for parents for 12-1 for youth sports.
Ooh.
Yeah, because this has been
I like that.
a topic that I've had with multiple parents, including you, where we've talked about.
Let's do it at Cleopatra's Lounge in Vegas.
There's one clear number one, but I don't want to give it away. Oh, yeah, we should do that at Cleopatra's Lounge. That would be
great.
Fun. We'll have to convince Michael Gruber. That's a good idea.
I think we could do it. And then the women and a lot of the wives that were dragged along will actually maybe have a good time.
They would love that one. Let's talk about Simply Safe. We all put off doing things we know we need to do. We know we need to organize the garage, return our great aunt's call. Something always gets in the way. Great aunt's call. That was a weird addition to this. Security can be like that too. It's a good idea, but it always slips down the list of priorities. Maybe it's the idea of paying a middleman or scheduling a 6-hour installation window. Like you have time for that. Come on. Well, fellow procrastinators, now it's time to act. Simply Safe's extended holiday sale ends soon. Simply Safe got rid of all the reasons not to get home security because they believe nothing should come between you and protecting your home. We're talking no contracts, no markups, no complicated installation. It's professional quality home security that's so easy you'll have it up and running in minutes. So yeah, you could add this to your epic to-do list, or you can do it right now. Go to simplysafe.com/BS. Order before January 8th to save with their extended holiday sale. That is Simply Safe with 2 I's. Simplysafe.com/BS. Before we do Parent Corner, I want to do a special brief edition of Grandparent Corner because my dad was here. And we were watching the Steelers-Ravens game tonight, and he called Juju Smith-Schuster. He called him Juju Switzer. It was phenomenal. Nephew Kyle was a witness. He's like, he was complaining about how Pittsburgh always gets receivers, and because they had that new white guy they have, whose name is Switzer.
His name is Switzer.
Yeah. It's like they get this guy, and then they just every time, and they had Sanders that time, and then Juju Switzer. It was great. I really enjoyed that. But for the actual Parent Corner, my dad and my stepmom were here, and yesterday my daughter had to go to yet another bar mitzvah, which I think is her 100th bar mitzvah of the last 52 weeks. So that was great. And my wife and I seized the opportunity to have a date. So we went out on a double date with your friend Daniel Kellison and his wife Diane.
Nice.
My parents took my son to the movies, and then they went to dinner after. And they noticed that he kept going to the bathroom. Went to the bathroom like 5 or 6 times for 3-4 minutes pop, 5 minutes a pop. And they're at this dinner. My stepmother takes forever to eat. So any dinner with my dad and stepmom is usually an hour and a half. So he kept disappearing to go. So one time my dad followed him in. He was leaving the table to go play Fortnite in the bathroom. Like a crack addict.
Wow.
Like a crack addict. He's like, I'll be right back. And was just going and there's some weird kid in the bathroom playing Fortnite. So needless to say, he's lost all of his Fortnite privileges. I'd like to announce my son's retirement from Fortnite.
That's it?
It's been deleted from his phone. The controllers are gone. He has no access to anything. It's over. Fortnite is done. That's it.
Oh, now is he gonna be bummed at Grandpa now for blowing his cover? That's not right.
No, my poor dad. He flies out. They take like the 7 a.m. flight on Friday to come out to just see their grandkids for 3 days.
No, I know, but I don't want him to get in trouble for it.
Today they go to his doubleheader for travel baseball. They sit in the metal baseball stands for 4 hours watching these 10-year-old baseball games. And then the one thing they want to do is go to the movies and go to dinner with him. And he's in the bathroom playing Fortnite. So that's it.
Was he like locked in the stall? Or was he
I
like
don't know what he
standing
was.
in
I
front
don't
of a
have all the
urinal?
details. Yeah, he's just kind of wandering around the bathroom like a homeless person. So yeah, it's done, and his phone has been stripped. I changed the iCloud password. He can't add new apps. He
Wow.
basically the phone is now a place for him to just text and go on YouTube, and that's it.
All right, I want to do that. I probably shouldn't even tell you about this. I should probably tell your wife.
I know about the app that you can monitor where they go.
No, I don't care about it.
Oh.
I'm putting it at under 8.5 days before you reinstall that. And I'd like to place $20 on that.
Oh, I'm going over. I win. All right, let's do it right now.
All right. I don't even care. You have all the control over this, and I'm still making the bet.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. Fortnite. There's all these stories now about relationships and marriages being ruined by Fortnite.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a thing now.
Sure.
Yeah. What's your parent corner?
It's not a great one, and I'm sorry if we covered this already, but I have my 4-year-old's playing soccer.
Yeah.
We go to the games. They actually scored a goal. It's fine. Didn't cry. It knocked over a few people. We had to talk to him about that. But and then at the end of the game, the team mom is like, or one of the moms is like, "Hey, we have pictures tomorrow, Sunday, at 1:45."
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. It's like, oh, well, do you need him to be picked up or your son to be picked up? I was like, no, I mean, this is something we could just skip. And then now, like, other parents are coming over, like, what's this guy talking about?
Yeah, you can skip it. It's optional.
Yeah, I was like, well, why don't we just, instead of ruining another afternoon, why don't we just get together 3 minutes before the game and take a team picture? Oh, and then we could branch off and take individual pictures of our spawn. And you would have thought I took an umbrella and beat the crap out of all their dogs. Right? Like they look like you wouldn't believe the response I got. And
Yeah.
so then I'm like, I sense that it's a problem. And I go home. My wife's like, well, I can't do it. You're going to have to. I was like, I'm not 1:45. That's right when all these games. Look, think all the games I would have missed. The endings of all these games I have missed for a picture. How archaic is it now that they have to charge? And it's part of the package. That's the best part of it. It's part of the league fee is the pictures. Except when you get there, they give you an option because you could have your son or daughter's face on a calendar for $60 or a blanket for $129. And God forbid you take your kid with you because they're going to want to order one of these. So anyway, I'm on to you. We're on to everybody here. Let's just take individual pictures, please. Please. Why do we have to have a separate picture day? In
the iPhone era, it makes no sense at all. So Zoe's first year.
In the Polaroid era, it didn't make sense. What are we doing here?
Zoe's first year was like age 4, like same thing as your son. And we have a picture of her in the sparkles and she's got little pigtails and it's got like the little baseball card. Like, as your first kid, you buy I can get all 3 of these for $80. Great. And I will say, I do look fondly at the one picture that we have it framed. It is a little heartwarming to see it.
You could go on your computer. Your son can't because he locked out, but you could go on your computer and make one of these and with a fancy background and everything.
You could. When I took my son to the Rays Red Sox game, they had a photographer walking around asking if this is at the Tampa game they barely have any fans, but they have a photographer. And the person was walking around going, can I take a picture of you and your son for, and I'm thinking like, no, what do I need a picture for? I have an iPhone.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
So I'm going to give you $20 and then my email address that you can now have so that you can take the same picture I can take with my iPhone. What are you talking about? So yeah, I'm with you, Sal. That's ridiculous.
I wish. Let's get a movement going for this.
1:45 is just classic. That's like, can we just ruin you? Now you'll miss the end of the first game and then the first half of the second game. It's a great one.
I wish I could have put my hand over her mouth when she says, and we're going to be taking pictures at, and I was like, 1:45? 1:45, right? Because that's exactly the worst time it could be. 1:45.
Oh, my God. What do you got for Parent Corner?
It's not a great story. I'm actually not proud of myself, but it starts with, and you've been to 100 of these. My oldest son, 13-year-old, actually my 13-year-old is, I think, having sex with our Guatemalan maid. but I want to. I'll save that for a couple weeks.
Wait,
No, my 13-year-old.
what?
That's not the story.
Hold on, nephew Kyle needs some air. Also, nephew Kyle would like to throw his hat in the ring with the Guatemalan maid if your son.
He was in?
No, he's just you got his attention in a bunch of ways.
Okay, good. I want to wake him up. It's late at night. It's like 11 o'clock. No, so he's on this club team, this club basketball team.
Yeah.
And like, do you have this whole thing where you guys host an event?
Yeah.
Like, we're hosting this event. His club team is hosting an event. And hosting the event means we have to drive to Anaheim. That's where they were able to secure an arena in Anaheim for this club basketball, because within 20 miles, we can't find 3 other teams that want to play this team. Like, I don't really understand. It's like me hosting a party at your house 45 minutes away. But anyway, we're going to Anaheim, and I'm told ahead of time that parking is $20, and for me to get in is $10. But because my son has a jersey, he can get in, and he's playing, so he can get in for free. And it's got me thinking, like, well, maybe I wait in the car a couple blocks away. But no, I'm going to watch. So we drive there, and it's right in the middle of Texas, Oklahoma. Great college game. I have fake money on it, on Lock It In. These other guys bet it too. And I'm checking the scores, and I'm on the 5 South going 80 miles an hour. And sure enough, I look up. I check Oklahoma had kicked a field goal to go ahead. Texas kicked a field goal to go ahead. I was like, oh, look at that. I'm looking on my phone, and I look up, and we are 3 feet from the car in front of us at 75, 80 miles an hour. And I just do a quick, like, into the left lane. Like, well, if someone's in the left lane, I'm sorry, but we're both screwed. And I got through it. And I'm never looking at the phone and driving again. And my son yelled out, Dad, what the F are you doing? And that's the only time I'll let him use the F word in front of me. But there's a lesson to be. What's the lesson, Bill? I don't know. I just can't text and drive or read and drive. Yeah.
Don't.
I felt like shit. Like,
don't look at the phone when your kids are in the car. I think if it's just you do it. You can send emails. No, I'm kidding.
I could do it?
No.
All right.
It sounds like Days
Not
of Thunder.
Not a great story, but I felt bad. What's that?
It sounds like Days of Thunder. Cruz, like, driving through the smoke. Like, didn't know if he was going to come out of it.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I was like, Arch, you have to move. It was terrible driving followed by spectacular driving. I mean, I was just parallel with the car next to me to get over. But I'm not proud.
Wow.
Don't text or look at scores and drive.
Parent cornered.
Arrested.
My story is also a car trip. My daughter had a soccer game yesterday in Corona, California.
Mm-hmm.
Any idea where that is?
Corona? I'm guessing it's by San Diego, right?
Yeah. No, it's not. Would have been nice if it was by San Diego.
It's not south?
It was south. It was south. It was
Mexico? Well, where is it? I don't know.
It was a good hour and a half. It was like past, you eventually hit the I-15. You drive by Norco, where a lot of the tournaments are out here, and then you just kind of keep going. And it was probably a good hour and a half. And the game was at, I'm going to say, like 11 o'clock. So this is basically my day off, so to speak, but I know I have the Red Sox on that, like coming up later. Yeah, you just like to kick back and relax. And this is an hour and a half trip and probably 2 hours back because of the traffic. And, at this point, this is my whole day. By the time we get home, it's going to be 3. So it would have been nice if my daughter played well in the game. She has her worst game of the season. And
oh, no.
It was more like, she plays at the top, and it's like, you just got to run. Like just try hard all the time when you're out there. Just bust your ass. And it was like, but she was conditionally busting her ass, but she wasn't in the right places the wrong time, the couple of times. And I was just mad because I felt like she had this, I felt like she was playing well. And then this was like I don't want to say a mail-in, but I wasn't happy with it. And we had talked on the way there. We were like, oh, after the game, we'll go to In-N-Out Burger. Or we're if you do well, we'll go here. And we're just talking about all the lunch options.
If you do poorly, we'll go to Shakey's.
Right. So we win the game 1-0 against a team that was in last place in our league. And like we barely win the game. And if she had been in the right spot, I feel like she could have had a couple goals. And I was just like, and now it's like, I don't know, almost 1:00. By the time we get home, it's 3. Like my whole day is shot. And we get in the car, and she knows I'm going to be mad. And we're just driving in silence. And she's like, "Are we going to eat?" And I was like, "You can eat the gum that's in the middle of the console.
What?
You can have gum. I'm not stopping. I'm going home. I bet this ride's been long enough." And then we just drove in silence for the next hour and a half. We didn't have lunch. But there's a kicker.
Feed her?
No, I was like, screw this. I'm just driving home.
That's why she can't score. You're not feeding her. You need to feed these kids, you know.
I was like, there's gum. That's lunch. So anyway, I was just so mad
we are terrible fathers. My God.
No, listen, it was my whole Saturday. I was like, could you at least try the whole game?
Well, so what in her mind, she needs to score a goal, or
no,
just
run.
Needs to play better?
She's got to run. Just run. She's 13. Run. She knows what to do.
Yeah.
That was what annoyed me. And I never get mad about stuff anymore. But what made me mad was this was my whole Saturday, and it was like, if I was gonna do this whole giant round trip, like, could you have told me ahead of time that you weren't gonna like run your ass off in the game? Well,
what would you have done? You still would have had to go.
Nah, I would have just skipped it. I would have sent her an Uber. So anyway,
I find it's easier and more palatable if you check scores as you're driving.
No, there's a moral to this story, because I'm not proud of how I reacted. I should have just said, it happens. You had a bad game. Let's go to In-N-Out. Mm-hmm. On the way home, I pass over to go into the little carpool lane with the whatever, where you have like, you know, I have the little gadget where it's like the little toll.
Right.
I crossed over to a white double line, which I thought you could do. I thought you couldn't only cross over the yellow line. Got pulled over by
$380.
Yeah. Got pulled over by a cop, got a ticket.
Nice.
So if you thought it was icy in the car before this,
oh no.
Now there's a ticket. Now it's just dead silence. And the only thing that was making me happy was I was going to call you and say, my day has sucked today. I know the Yankees are going to beat the Red Sox. I'm going to buy the win. I'm going to bet the Yankees. So that's all I thought about the last 20 minutes of the ride. Just calling you and be like, listen, don't ask. I've had a shitty day. I'm going to take the Yankees. But I didn't do that.
Man.
I didn't do that. I didn't buy the win. So then I stayed home, watched the Yankees beat the Red Sox, then decided to make up for bad dad behavior. Whole family goes to A Star Is Born, and I skipped the UFC 229 and missed the greatest UFC thing ever. That was my Saturday,
wow.
Sal. Happy day off. Happy day off to the dads out there.
I don't know what the moral is there. I really don't. Because you try to do the right thing.
It was just a bad day. So I skipped.
How much was she laughing when you got pulled over?
she wasn't laughing. She was looking for more gum.
Officer, can you please, do you have a biscuit or a crack or anything?
So anyway, I didn't go today, but she came home. She's like, I really was running around. You would have been proud of me. I'm like, all right, great.
That's nice.
Good there.
We
let her eat today.
That's good. That's smart. You didn't get nailed for the seatbelt, huh?
No, he didn't notice that one. You're right. I didn't have the seatbelt on. I probably could have gotten nailed for that too.
Good for you.
I did apologize later, but I did give the speech like, look, and I'm sure you've given the same speech to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we make a big commitment. You're playing these sports. We drive you around. We're basically your chauffeur. The only thing we're asking from you is that you're all in when you're out there. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's asking for a lot. It's fair.
I would have liked that. I would have liked that from my parents. I think that's good.
I go to all your games. I go to as many as I can. I am a super supportive parent. I never say anything. And just respect that we put in the time. I think that's fair.
That's good.
Thank you.
And now you and your dad are arguing about Price and whether he should start.
Yeah, my dad threw me under the bus on Twitter today.
The goal comes around.
It's ridiculous. Let's do parent corner. Go ahead.
All right. Well, this comes secondhand from my wife because I'm out of town. But my oldest son, had a flag football game, And so my wife had to bring everybody, and my father goes to these games, and it's like, it's for the middle school. So they travel and they play like the rival. I think they played Redondo. They played the rival school this week, and it's a good game. And it's getting late, but someone on the other team, one of the team moms, wheels up. She has a wheelchair, and she has like nubs for legs and nubs, unfortunately, for arms too. And my 4-year-old, who's 4, but he's also an asshole, says to her, "You have no arms." And my wife goes crazy. She's like, "You don't say that. You don't say that to somebody." And the woman's like, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay." It's like, and then like he pauses for like 20 seconds and like looks over and is like, "You have no legs either." And so then my wife has to reprimand him, and now it's really uncomfortable. And so she has an assistance dog, as you can imagine, like pulling the wheelchair. And she's got like attached to her nub, she has like a prosthetic half arm that could reach out and like handle the leash for the dog. And so my wife is like, says to my younger kids, not playing in the game, says, "Go over there and play with the dog. Be nice. Show some concern and be nice to this woman." So they go over there, and it's not long after they're instructed to go over there that they drive the dog crazy to a point where the dog like loses it and pulls away from this woman, and in doing so pulls the nub out of her arm socket where she was holding the leash. And now this thing's on the ground. And my father, who also has a cane, sees this, and he scrambles to his credit and goes to push the arm back in, using his cane, goes to push the arm back into this woman's socket. But he's jamming it like he's banging a TV in 1975 to try to get reception, jamming it in with the help of the cane. And now this woman's daughter comes like, "No, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right." So, I think the moral of the story is just don't bring your parents or your kids anywhere, right? I don't know how to sum this up, but it really just seemed like a Seinfeld episode mixed with Three's Company. So
mixed with Curb Your Enthusiasm. Wow.
Yeah. Be nice to the handicapped people and just don't keep the kids in the house with the iPads. That's all.
That was some story. Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
How did you
I had
miss
asked
that?
for the details like 3 times. I was like, "Come on, that can't be true."
Are there character of the year points handed out for that or no? Does your son
I
a
really
character
should.
of the year?
My son and the
Harrison?
dog split points, I think.
Jesus.
Have no legs or arms either. A jerk.
Unbelievable. I think 4-year-olds are really the worst human beings on earth, just across the board. Because they're smart enough to know what they shouldn't say, but they'll absolutely say it, and they don't care.
I know. I'm not even kidding. Like, I should keep them in the whole year, because by 5 or 5.5, you can kind of learn what's right and wrong.
Right.
But, yeah.
My parent corner
always.
is, I took my son to his first real concert on Friday night.
Mhm.
Nephew Kyle was there as well. We went to see a show with Migos and Drake, 2 of his 3
Nice.
favorite musical artists. And there was a lot of marijuana in the arena, like a lot,
Mhm.
a lot, like a lot of marijuana smoke. Enough that I was wondering whether it was the right idea, but my son took so much joy and excitement out of this. I actually Instagrammed him singing Fight Night with Nephew Kyle because he was delighted. The chorus of that song is "Gonna knock that pussy out like Fight Night." So I have that on
Jesus
Instagram.
Christ.
So that was great. He got to see just lots of people who probably weren't wearing enough clothes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just an incredible amount of people out there that maybe don't go to the gym all the time, but will still wear outfits like they do. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
So it was an eye-opening experience left and right for him. But the big thing was
Man.
we were able to go backstage to see Quavo, and who is the kind of star of Migos. Although I think they're all stars, but I think he just had an album come out this week, and my son's a huge fan of Quavo, and he's actually an interesting guy because he was. I'm trying to get him on a podcast at some point because he was like this phenomenal athlete, and chose music
Really?
over sports. Yeah, he was like this 3-sport athlete in Georgia, and probably could have played either college or basketball in college.
Could he
So
play
anyway.
quarterback for the Giants?
He probably right now. So when my son met him, he'd been working on. He didn't want to screw up the handshake, so he and nephew Kyle had been working on the handshake. And Kyle, you want to explain the handshake?
It's the daps. It's like skins. It's like almost like gimme skins. There's just a little bit of flavor. to
Hard
it.
slap though. The
Yeah, it's gotta
noise
have a
is
good
part of
sound.
it. So
Yeah.
he was really concerned about that. He's wearing Air Jordans. So meets Quavo, does the slap. We thought he executed it really nicely.
Yeah, it made a good sound.
And then they're talking,
Right.
and Quavo's looking at him, and he checks out like Ben's wearing like this Air Jordan outfit, kind of a retro old school. My son, for some reason, has really kind of, I don't know. Would
Yeah,
you agree?
yeah,
Like
like-
he's got like a fashion style to him.
I think it was the Jordan 13s or 14s that he was wearing that did it to him.
So Quavo's, he's kind of making small talk, but then he kind of takes a step back and he looks. What did he say, Kyle?
He's like, "Damn, you're dripping," or something
Yeah,
like that.
he's like, damn, look at those shoes. You dripping. So that was really exciting. Quavo told my son that he was dripping. And I don't know. I was, I'm not the coolest guy on the earth, but Quavo told my son I was dripping. I really felt it was a
Yeah.
cool moment for me.
I think his second favorite part was every time they told him to put his middle finger up.
Right.
He
Yeah.
was like the first
Well,
kid
that's
with
the
his
other thing.
middle finger up.
Migos kept asking the crowd to put their middle fingers up, which you're not going to believe this, but my son was happy to oblige on that.
He already had it up.
Yeah, he said they're up and ready to roll. And then on the way home, I was like, man, that was a lot of pot smoke. You feeling all right? You feeling all right, Ben? What did he say?
Like, I think I'm high.
He goes,
I think I got a little high.
he goes, I think I got a little high. So that was it. That's my parent corner. I think
I think
son
you're getting
got,
Cody points. Forget about my 4-year-old.
I think my son got secondhand high. My 5th grade son might have gotten 2nd grade high. But you know what? I'd do it again. It was great.
And let me ask you this: as far as a cool factor thing goes, you take him to a lot of cool places. I will say,
Yeah.
If taking him to, was it a preseason? No, was it? You took him to a Red Sox game in Tampa, right?
Yes.
That was not long ago. What is that 1 to 10? What is this 1 to 10 in terms of how cool he thinks you are for taking him, getting the royal treatment at a game or backstage at a
No,
concert like
he
this?
takes me for granted all the time. No, just this year.
Really?
He got to be a ball boy at the All-Star game, and he got to meet Ben Simmons and Jason Tatum. He got to meet Quavo. He's gone
Did the
with
wrestling
WrestleMania
entrance?
with you in the past, and he's met a lot of those dudes.
But did that wrestling entrance like a month ago, right?
Oh,
Or a
yeah, he
little
did the
more?
wrestling entrance at NXT. It's really, he always wins. And if he could even execute basic math, it would be a bonus. Even just the easiest long division problem possible. If he could just bang that out once, it would be a bonus. But that's good. He's at least had some good experiences.
I'm with you.
Yeah. It's like, hey, do you want to work on your stuff? Hold on, I'm playing Fortnite squads.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, at least he doesn't take pleasure in poking fun at the disabled. So you got that. At least you've passed that.
And he is dripping.
He's dripping.
I'd never heard that expression before, Kyle. I'm a 49-year-old
It's
white
like
man.
you're dripping swag, basically. It's just
You're
dripping
dripping
off
swag.
you. It's just dripping off you. Yeah.
It felt like a compliment.
It was.
I was like, that's definitely a compliment.
That's
My
good.
son's dripping.
You sure your nose wasn't running or anything? You're actually
maybe
dripping?
he had nasal drip. What do you got for parent corner for me?
I don't have a lot because I was away all week. I was in Brooklyn, and I didn't see a lot of the kids today. I got home yesterday. But I know my 10-year-old is quitting Taekwondo.
Oh, no. Why? What happened?
That's it. He decided he doesn't want to do it. And he has a cough. Every time he has to go to a lesson, he has a cough. It's amazing. You wouldn't believe it. And now, so he wants to quit, and he wants to take golf lessons, which is like giving your cat golf lessons. Like he's gonna hit it. He's gonna hit the ball like 6 yards every time. That's it.
Wait a second. How many belts was he up to?
He set probably 6 belts. Like blue is like the 6th belt, and he breaks the boards all right. But it's hard, isn't it? And like I said, he gets a cough every time he has to go practice. So
It's a conditional cough.
That's right. Yeah.
What happens when you're in Brooklyn with Kimmel's show all week? What happens on that Saturday? What's your wife's reaction to you when you waltz back through the door after a week of eating all this free food that Jimmy gets?
See me. So happy to see me. But just delighted at whatever I picked up at the airport 3 minutes before I boarded for everybody. No, I don't. It's me. I have to take care of everything from there on.
Kyle,
it's not a good thing.
Kyle, do you have a parent corner about either of my kids for this week? Anything jumping out at you?
I wish I did. I don't know.
We could skip
they weren't
it.
Very
People think we make these things up. Like I've got notes that Simmons is purposely becoming a C- parent just so that he could have a story for Sunday night. I was like, well, that's not really fair. These are actual stories.
Did I do the one about the adult voice coming from Ben's Fortnite? Have I done that one yet? So. Oh, let's do that one. So, Ben's playing Fortnite in his room, and usually it's like him and his moron friends, and they're playing duos, and they're talking. They FaceTime each other, and they play duos or they play squads, and they're like, let's go over to Snobby Shores or whatever, and they go and they conspire, and they try to beat these other people who are online. So I'm used to hearing like these little boys' voices, and dude, come on. So I'm walking by his door and I hear what I thought was an adult voice. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I go in and I'm like, who is that? It's like, Dad. I'm like, I just heard a guy's voice who because my son has the headset on and he can talk to people and they can hear him. And I'm like, who is the guy? And he's like, it's my Fortnite trainer. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean Fortnite trainer? And he's like, I'm like, are you paying him? Because you don't have any money. You don't have a credit card. Like, what's going on? And
I thought you were going to say it was Kenjan Barner.
It might have been.
Wow. All
right. No. And he's not paying him. It was just this guy who's helping him out with Fortnite. And I'm like, how'd you meet this guy? And he goes, I met him online playing Fortnite.
No.
And I'm like, what is happening? So needless to say, Ben has some random adult online who's helping him with Fortnite. I'm going to say it's a concern. I don't know. It just seems concerning. Maybe I'm crazy.
It's not that great. Yeah.
It's not great, right? A stranger who's decided to befriend a 10-year-old who plays they can play video games together.
And made up a title like Fortnite trainer? I don't know.
Fortnite trainer? Is this what Michael Jackson would have done in 2018? Like, is this how he would have met people? I don't know. I don't like it. So anyway, Ben's Fortnite trainer is no longer with us. He is.
So you banned him from interacting with this gentleman.
Unless Ben is cheating on me and lying to me and still in contact with the adult Fortnite trainer.
So you're going to end up having to get him an actual trainer, aren't you?
Maybe take Taekwondo.
An actual Fortnite trainer. I mean, these things are big, and I used to think it's stupid, and then I see how much money you could win in these tournaments. Like, well, maybe this is like anything else, where if you could get good at it, it is worth it.
Yes, people win like $500,000.
Yeah,
I have one more. I'm gonna double up. I know you have to go, but I also have an uncle corner this week.
Oh,
for nephew Kyle. We had suspected that he might be sort of back together with the ex.
Right.
And Damon was over and I read between the lines of some story and he kind of spilled the beans, and nephew Kyle is not out of the woods yet. Doesn't seem like. But that's not the nephew corner.
He's back with her? She saw the tattoo and she took him back?
Yeah, something happened. So they were explaining to me what Bumble is. Do you know what Bumble is, Sal?
This is
my episode of Uncle Corner. So Bumble is like Tinder, except the women are in control, and they control the interaction. So it operates the same way as Tinder, except you can swipe whatever way to tell whoever that you think they're cute or whatever the hell happens with these crazy youngsters. And then you can hear from them in 24 hours and end up like getting together. But the women are in control. Bumble.
It eliminates rejection, which is nice.
It eliminates rejection. Damon was a big fan of the Bumble scene in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
He's on like 3 others that he's not even letting you know about. So
yeah,
he hit the ground running for sure.
If we ever have What are these called? Are they called dating apps
They're
or
dating
something
apps.
more nefarious?
I think that's what they're called, dating apps. Yeah.
All right. Well, he
What
enjoys.
is it? What's the quality like compared to on both sides, men and women, compared to Tinder?
I'm not sure. I think you just got to be careful in Hollywood. You just really got to be careful in Hollywood. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Savannah, he met some lady, but it turned out it was a male Fortnite trainer, and he
I was
got
just
freaked
gonna
out.
say.
You can tell by the handshake.
Yeah. So Bumble, there's this whole world going on that we just never experienced. Where you just go on a website, you swipe a couple times, and the next thing you know,
They
you're
just show up.
next thing you're at a Starbucks meeting somebody. I don't get it,
That's
Sal. I don't know what God did to us to decide that we had to be born 20 years too early and missed all this.
Well, between pointless golf lessons and Fortnite trainers, we better hit one of these teasers coming up.
Well, good job by us today, though. We did all right today, except for
Yeah, that was nice.
Sir
That was
Blake
nice.
Bortles. Let's take a break. Talk about FanDuel, where you get the excitement of researching and building your team each week, regardless of the outcome. And now fantasy's over in football. Hit this little dead spot in basketball where you're starting to get back into it. Maybe remember who's on what team in the NBA. College, you can do that. All the college guys. Golf's coming. Whole lot of great FanDuel is coming. It's all coming. Yeah. Well, I've tried other DFS sites before. FanDuel is clearly the place to play, whether you're ready for a fresh start or you just love daily fantasy. Come over to FanDuel, get a $5 bonus when you make your first deposit. Pick a new fantasy team every week, get all the fresh starts you need to get back to winning. I need daily fantasy because my football, the league that I'm in, the league with Sal where somebody gets voted out, had a terrible ending to it. It really made me sad. I might never play league-long fantasy again.
We might win our league, by the way.
Well, we might win our league.
Damn.
The Ringer League. I'm talking about the one with Sal.
The important one. Got it. Okay.
Come play with me at FanDuel.com/BS. New users only. Bonus not available for withdrawal. State and age restrictions apply. For full eligibility rules and terms and conditions, go to FanDuel.com. Let's do a little parent corner and then wrap it up.
All right. Well, mine comes from tonight at the game.
Okay.
I'm sitting next to Dickie Barrett, and I got my son there, and I have Kevin Kimmel, Jimmy's son, and it's the four of us. And we're behind the Dodgers dugout. We're lucky enough to have nice seats. We're behind the Dodgers dugout, and Dickie is a big, big Red Sox fan. Mighty, Mighty Boss Tones, lead singer. You know, hardcore Red Sox as it goes.
Yeah.
And the game's getting out of hand as far as a 4-1 game could be. And Mookie Betts hit the home run to make it 5-1, right?
Yeah.
He hits the home run to make it 5-1. So I thought I'll get this cool shot on my camera of Dickie celebrating in the foreground and Mookie Betts rounding second coming towards us in the background. And so Dickie stands up and his phone falls. And I don't think anything of it, but I'm scrambling to get my phone off lock and then start recording Dickie's thing. And Dickie celebrates, drops his phone, and then grabs my phone and won't let go of it. And now we're like struggling and like people are watching us. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I thought this was part of his celebration. He was going to grab my phone and like throw it against the netting in front of us or something, but I'm not letting go of my phone because I don't know what he's up to. And now he like elbows me in the eye. And he's really grabbing at this phone, and to a point where I think Mookie Betts is like watching us fight as he's coming around second base here. And now I elbow him in the ribs, and I look up, and now he finally lets go of the phone and says, "Will you just give me my effing phone back?" I was like, "It's not your phone, dude. I'm trying to record you celebrate. Your phone's on the floor." So he thought that I stole his phone and was like doing weird things with it. So we almost had a fist fight as a result. And I look over to the right, and my boy, and he's definitely my boy, my 13-year-old Archie, is recording the whole thing, records the whole altercation, which I want to try to put online. But Dickie's mad because he knows he behaved like an ass buffoon, and now he's not allowing us to do it. But I'm going to get him to sign off on it. So there you go. There's my boy.
So the same person who took a selfie with Damon and Affleck and put it up without asking their permission is now upset. Now he won't Now he won't give you permission to use this video.
You're
Is that what
right.
you're telling me?
You know what, Bill? You're right. I had not even considered that side of it. Damn it, you're right. Good. I'm gonna write that down.
Unbelievable.
Oh man, I was like,
Dickie
what is going
Barrett.
on here? Now like my eye is a little sore. I was like, what the hell? What a maniac this guy is. Team won. He thought I took his phone.
I don't have a good parent corner this week.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't all have to be good.
Yeah, I didn't want to force one. I mean, I took my son to game 4 and they had the souvenir cup Dodger things, right? The World Series cups. It's like extra. It's a giant Coke. So I got that for my son. And I just got to say, like, I really feel like that's like little kid cocaine. If they're going to drink that much Coke, and that's it, because they're going to finish the souvenir cup. It's not like a little kid's going to go, I'm going to drink half of that. I shouldn't have all of it, right? They're going to have the whole thing. So he has the whole thing. And then he's hopped up from the moment, he's just crashing. Like 4-0, he's crashing the same way you would crash if you're like at some nightclub and you've mixed all these drugs together. And then they win back up and he's all like boisterous and crazy because he's got like 42 ounces of Coke in his system. And he's clapping and I'm settling him down and he's like losing his mind during the game. And it was honestly like we were at a nightclub and we had just done an 8-ball in the bathroom, but it was a World Series souvenir cup. So
maybe they could do something different now that the whole country is obese. Maybe it's just like a souvenir straw. Like, forget about the cup. It doesn't need to, you don't need to. It's bigger than some apartments in LA at this point.
Yeah, what I was thinking was there should be the souvenir cup should have some sort of gimmick with it where it seems like it's a full soda, but it's really only like 1/3 full. Right. And the rest of it is like, it's like some weighted whatever that moves around and he keeps thinking he's sipping the soda, but it's just nothing.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, put some heft to it. Yeah, either that or make it like a champagne glass kind of thing where it's just skinnier.
Oh, like it gets skinny as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we come home and he's up till like 12:30 playing Fortnite because he's like trying to come down. It's like, Kyle, what do you take when you need to come down at the end of the day?
Sleep.
Ambien?
Food usually.
Food?
Try to get the itis and fall asleep.
Uncle Corner. That's what you do when you try to get the itis?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep a trash
What's
can
the thing
close by.
when people mix drugs who are like super druggy?
You
like love cocaine and then they go the other way, Quaaludes, right?
Quaaludes? Are
Yeah,
people still getting their hands on Quaaludes?
I'm so old.
I have no idea.
Quaaludes. They don't have Quaaludes
I think
anymore?
they'd be expired Quaaludes, which I think the Wolf of Wall Street taught us is a no-no.
Maybe that's what they should have with the souvenir cups. They should have something that also brings the kid down. Like you have the giant souvenir cup, but then it's like Sour Patch Kids, but they're flavored in a way that they're
like
the
heavy
kids
Sour
sedated.
Patch Kids. Yeah,
they're sedated Sour Patch Kids. You mix those up
Speaking
together.
of kids doing drugs, Kyle, did you have fun at my Halloween
I had
party
a fantastic
yesterday?
time. I had a fantastic time. It was great.
Okay, good.
Kyle has a story actually.
Kyle was there. Tate, Titus.
Kyle has a story about Ken.
Oh, but I was going to say, well, let me. I know he corrupted him.
Actually, can I just tell Kyle's story of Ken?
Go ahead.
I'll tell the edited version of it.
Yeah.
He's like, Kyle tells me I met Ken. I'm like, oh, you met Ken? He's
that
like,
was
yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah. I was like, good guy, right? And he was like, yeah. He coughed on me twice, and the second time, stuff came out of his mouth and went all over my face. So that was a bummer.
Yeah.
Was it
And
Quaaludes?
I don't think Quaaludes smell like that.
I'm like, what do you mean he coughed? And he was like, well, we were doing something, and it ended up with him coughing, and
Debris, Sal. Debris.
He coughed debris on me, and so I wish
Checking
that.
his prostate. What did it call? Why is he coughing, Kyle? What happened?
So then Kyle goes, so I wish that hadn't happened, but good guy.
Overall, it was a good party. Wasn't a deal breaker for me.
When he coughed debris on me. Other than that, good guy. So yeah, he got to meet Ken. I was really sad I missed the Halloween party. I thought you dressed up as a Cobra Kai guy, which I thought was magnificent.
You were missed. Yeah, it was YouTube themed, and yeah, I was a Cobra Kai guy. But I will say the ringer guys for the ladies there. My cousin Mickey and actually Daniel is getting a lot of time here. his wife was like, hey, introduce me to your friends. So now I have Jimmy Kimmel Live friends. I have Lock It In Fox friends. And I was like, oh, and I thought she pointed to the Fox people. So I go to move over to them, and they're like, no, we don't want to meet them. We want to meet those guys. Points to the Ringer guys, the handsome
wow.
Tate and Titus and Kyle. I was like, oh, all right, here you go.
Wow.
And yeah.
Made some noise there, yeah.
One shining boner.
That's the next tattoo.
So this is now they're taking this on the road.
Oh, yeah.
This could be dangerous.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
So the Lock It In people were there. So you had like 3 different parts of your orbit.
We had a lot of groups there. Yeah.
Exciting.
A lot of coolers.
A lot of coolers. And Ken,
Yeah.
You know, the sad thing though, is that in the PC era, you really, nobody can cross any sort of line with a Halloween costume anymore. I won't even tell stories about some of the costumes that have happened in years past, but now those days are just gone.
No,
now it's like just Cobra Kai, and that's as far as anyone can go.
Right. Yeah. No, we had a guy dress up. So it was YouTube themed. So anything you've ever seen on YouTube. And there was once a popular woman who stomped grapes. And this guy went as the grape stomping woman, and his feet were purple. And someone asked, like, why do you have black feet? And he's like, no, I have purple feet. They're like, oh, well, people are going to think you have black feet. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Please leave him alone.
They purple shamed him?
Yeah, they purple shamed him. The Barney supporters are coming out in full force. It's going to be bad.
My best costume ever, I went to in an 80s party that was actually at Jason Schrift's house. And I dressed as Billy Hicks from St. Elmo's Fire, the Rob Lowe character.
Oh, nice.
And it was actually the only time I've ever really put time into a Halloween costume to really look like somebody. I was really proud of myself. Because I was like always like in college would always just go as Brandon from 90210 and just put fake sideburns on. I was ready to go. You've always taken Halloween a lot more seriously.
I like it because parties have that first half hour to get going, but the Halloween party is nice because you got the costume thing. You're automatically going to talk about that. But yeah, I went as one year we had a theme of criminals, and I was George Michael Vick. I dressed as George Michael and Michael Vick. I mixed them up.
That's awesome. Let's go to Parent Corner.
All right. So I'm just starting now getting a taste of, I was lucky all these years getting the kids playing all their soccer games, all their flag football games, all their basketball games in town here. So I'd have like a 3-minute ride, sometimes 5 minutes. But now my oldest joined this club league, and it takes you to all that. We haven't driven under an hour on a Saturday in like 6 weeks. So this tournament took him to Mission Viejo.
Ooh.
Where is this? Ladera. You've been there, right?
Yeah, I've
right
been in a lot
there?
of these places. Yeah.
All right. So that's where that is. And that's 55 miles. Takes $1.15 in traffic if you're lucky. So I tell my wife, he has 2 games Saturday. He has 1 game Sunday. He has 2 games Sunday. If he wins, he's in the finals. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll do Saturday, and then I'll take the other 2 kids on Sunday to football, to Corollas. And then on Sunday, you take him to freaking Mission Viejo. Like, great. All right. So we go Saturday. They win both. They're coming back Sunday. Sunday, I'm at Corollas. The wife's there at the game. He wins the first game. Now he's in the final. So now I'm a little bummed at myself for not going there.
Yeah.
Right. Now I don't know what to do. So
now you feel like a bad parent.
Yeah, I feel like a bad, even though I'm watching the other 2, So I say, listen, text me the scores. She's like, all right, they're down 10. So I'm kind of glad they're down 10. I'm like, all right, I don't want to be there when they win the title. So, and then they fight back. She's like, they're down 1 with 5 seconds left, and their kid's at the line. I'm like, FaceTime me right now. I got to get in on this. And Archie's having a good game. He's got like 8 points and a bunch of rebounds and a steal. I was like, I got to see this. And so she haphazardly turns the camera. It's all a mess. We should have this down by now, but we're FaceTiming, we're watching. The kid has 3 free throws. He misses the first 2, makes the third, ties it for my son's team. There's 3 seconds left. The opposing team inbounds it. My son, Archie, he fouls the kid.
Oh,
he
no.
pulled the J.R. Smith.
No.
He thought they were up 1. He thought they were down 1.
Oh, he intentionally fouled him?
Yeah, he thought they were down one because he got
no.
confused with the 3 free throws. And I'm screaming into the day. I'm like, what's he doing? She's like, oh, yeah, they shouldn't have called it. I was like, no. From what I see, he went right after the kid. He tried to foul him. She's like, no. Oh, I don't know why the ref called. I was like, me from 50 miles away can tell what's going on a blurry screen, but she couldn't say, but whatever. So the kid, of course, gets a 1-and-1, sinks the first one. He's devastated. I want to yell at him over FaceTime, but the FaceTime kicks out. So now I have to wait for him to get home like 2.5 hours. And I see him. And at that point, I was like, I can't yell at him. Would you? Now, I think you would have yelled at him, right? But I feel like he's been through enough for 2.5 hours and I wasn't there. So it makes me an extra bad parent to lay into him. So I just tapped him on the shoulder and then he came in the room and watched the Patriots game. Wasn't that the right thing to do?
Yeah. I don't think, first of all, phenomenal story. I don't think it's good to yell at kids for screw ups. I think the only thing trial and error over the years is effort you can yell at them for.
Yeah.
Especially if there's been driving.
In a tie game is too much effort, right?
Well, that's like a brain fart though. That's like you know, he's going to be the hardest on himself on that thing.
Right.
But like if it's like a fast break where he just decided not to run back and they got a layup, like that's the kind of thing where it's like, what are you doing? I just sacrificed my Sunday. You're not going to run. Right.
Yeah, that's what. So I couldn't even say that. I'm like, here I am not sacrificing my Sunday, and you're intentionally fouling for no reason. Like it didn't make sense. So,
do you think there should be a course for wives and moms to learn how to FaceTime sporting events for their husbands who aren't there? Because I've had similar issues with my wife, and it's honestly like they're trying to land the challenger.
Right.
It's
right. Or vice versa. We don't want to be sexist here. There are some wives that want to see from home and husbands that don't want to do it, know how to do it.
All right. Listen,
yeah,
I only know, I'm only judging from the experience of my wife and your wife.
Okay. Yeah,
so we could at least start a course where just our two wives would learn how to FaceTime successfully at a sporting event. And if more people wanted to come, God bless them. But
for the first 15 seconds, my wife had it on her face. I was like, I don't need to hear from you. I want to see we could text each other or we could talk just on the phone to hear from you. I don't need to see what have your hair back in a bandana. Like, doesn't matter. She
thought her expressions were enough for the FaceTime, not the actual 10 people on the court.
It's like the real world confessional or something. I don't know what you needed.
My parent corner, my son, he had a baseball game today, which I went to the first one. He struck out the first time up. The second time, he bats cleanup. So sometimes there's runners on base. So third and second, we're down. We kind of need a hit. He gets this big hit, runs to second, lands on second, does when the guy in like the Astros, they get to second, they do the clap, and then they point to the dugout.
Yeah, right.
So does the clap, points to the dugout, and then does the Brock Holt hip shake thing from the Red Sox thing, all in a row. It was incredible. I've never been more appalled and proud of him at the same time. It was phenomenal. Really great. Like really mimicked to a T everything he saw during the baseball playoffs, all in one play. Big hit, the clap at second. And I'm like, man, this kid's really figuring it out. So then I took my daughter to the soccer game. And then my wife texted me and said, well, no more Fortnite for Ben. And I said, what do you mean? And he was playing Fortnite and he got mad that he lost. And he threw his controller against the TV and broke the screen.
Oh, no.
So he no longer has a TV. So that all happened in the span of 5 hours.
Wow. Well, and you also proud and devastated at the same time, right?
No, that one I was just mad. I'm positive he knows not to throw the controller at the TV. He really gets mad now. The Fortnite, when they lose, like it really feels like he's personally, like he's under attack.
But I was going to say that was a lot of this is gravy. This went over like the first week in November to break a screen out of anger over a video game.
This is his first one.
This went over by like 13 months, I think.
It's a really terrible job by him because guess what? No more hand-me-down TVs.
Right.
That's it. No more. His TV
What's he
list in
going to
his
know?
room
But
now.
honestly, you say no more. But he's going to be playing in.
No,
in
he can have
3
his,
weeks, right?
He can have his iPhone and choke on it for all I care. I'm so mad that he did that. What a little dick he is.
Is it playable or is it really just shattered?
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking of doing the thing where you just leave the TV in there with the crack in it, and they just have to.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, hey man, it's your TV.
Yeah, exactly. Put
I
some
can't
tape
help-
on it.
Can't help how you decorated it. All right, we're back. I have an apology to make to my degenerate son. Last week, I said on the parent corner that he threw his remote at the TV and broke the TV, and now is banned from playing Fortnite. What actually happened was he threw the controller on the ground angrily. It bounced off the ground and ricocheted into the TV.
Oh, wow.
So what's funny is my son adamantly saying how he didn't throw the controller into the TV. That's not what happened. I threw it off the ground and it bounced into the TV. That's somehow much better. So anyway, apologies to him. I had my facts.
Well,
wrong
what he
with that.
didn't tell you is that he had been practicing that move for weeks, bouncing it off the ground into the TV. So I don't know. You could maybe give him more credit.
I don't even know how he did it. Like what are his TV is probably like 4 or 5 feet up off the ground. It had to have been a real whip. You got to live parent corner today as Brad was heckling and berating my son and talking about how he was going to be trouble and it's fine. I went 1 for 2 because he likes my daughter, but this other one is almost hopeless.
We played pig. You didn't hear when he was taunting your son while he was playing pig. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna hit the rim." Every time your son would shoot, he'd be like, "Oh, cover your head, cover your head!" Screaming at him.
What do you got for parent corner this week?
Not a lot other than well, you know what? The greatest athletic performance in the Icono family for many generations to come occurred this Saturday when my 4-year-old Harrison scored 6 goals.
Wow.
6 goals. After not scoring I guess he scored 1 the whole season, first 7 games. Scored 6. Doesn't do anything special. He hustles after the ball. He runs through his kicks, follows through, and just is very focused. And actually, he does do one thing special. After the goal, he does a bushwhacker type celebration dance. Not even really a dance, but he just does, look at it online. The Bushwhackers were a tag team in the late 80s, early 90s in the WWF. And he did that. He avoids the handshakes and everything. He just bushwhackers his way back to midfield, and they start again. So congratulations, Harrison. There you go.
Do the other parents look at you kind of side-eyed a little bit when he's
It was
doing the
a little,
bushwhacker?
after like the 4th goal, I was like kind of drifting towards my car a little. I was like, all right, come on. Just also play a little defense. You don't have to go up every time.
He really wanted those goals. I think nothing would be funnier than if he became a soccer kid and was like in the club soccer scene and you had to go to all these soccer games.
No,
After all the shit you've
that.
given me over the years.
Have it with basketball now. The worst.
My parent corner is really quick, but I think it says a lot. It's a very short story. Was sitting watching TV with my son like 3 nights ago, and he was like he's playing on his iPad, and he's like, "Dad?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you think I'll ever be the president of a frat someday?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Probably." And he's like, "All right, cool." And then just went back to the Fortnite. I have no idea why he asked me this. I don't know if he now aspires to be the president of a frat, but
were you watching?
We were. I was watching like basketball. It was that's what made it weird. It wasn't like
you were watching Animal House. Or
no, it was
like
like Revenge of the Nerds was on, and he was like it was just out of nowhere. He's just on his mind. He was wondering if someday there's a roadmap to him becoming the president of a frat.
Well, I would have maybe issued a follow-up question there.
Yeah,
what the heck are you talking about?
Didn't really understand.
I didn't know anything about frats and presidents and everything.
So then we saw friends this weekend whose son went to USC, and they have frats at USC. And he was in a frat, and he was telling my wife about the frat, and she's like, "I think Ben should go to USC because they have frats." And I'm like, "What's going on?" Yeah, and then The other thing is, he
Does USC have concrete screens in their plasma TVs? That's what they
hopefully.
need more than Fred.
So then my other part of the parent corner is, he told me we were out at the Staples Center.
Yeah.
He smelled weed in LA Live
Oh,
and told us that
So excited.
he knows what weed smells like because from the Migos concert. And now he knows what it smells like.
Well, now he smells hot dogs, and he's like, "That's weed." I was like, "No, that's
No,
food." And he's like, "Oh, okay, all right." But that was weed, and it's like, all right,
He's like the weed detective.
it's hard to smell it's hard to blame the aroma on the California fires at the Migos concert a month ago, right?
Nephew Kyle has a cousin corner.
Oh, from the game.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah.
So some dude stopped. This fucking tattoo I have now is like a fucking target on me. So we were leaving the Clippers game, and some guy was screamed out "Nephew Kyle," and I turned around because I'm an idiot, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And that's the real Ben Simmons. And Ben and I are waiting for our cab, and he asked us to take a picture. He's like, "Thank you guys so much," and he like walked away. And Ben, for like the whole 30 minutes that it took us to get back, was like, "We're famous now, Kyle. Like, we're celebrities." It's like, "No, Ben, we're not." And he literally, like, he was just high the whole time. He was high on life and weed, I guess. I don't know.
Where do he tell the guys at the frat?
So I was just going to say, this is going to pale in comparison from when he's named president as next frat.
I'd worry about him being like an enforcer, though, within a president, like a sergeant at arms guy at the
Unbelievable.
frat.
You have a parent corner?
I do. Oh, so at my 4-year-old Harrison school, they have what's called Dad Appreciation Day, which, by the way, spells out dad if you do the first initial. But anyway, because they're not in school during Father's Day, so they feel bad and they want to do something for the dad. So they make this thing. It's basically a Mad Libs thing. With my father is how many years old, and my father likes to do this. So my son Harrison comes up with that I'm 55 years old. I'm really good at basketball. Not true. Not 55. Not good at basketball. The best times he has with me is when we go to Florida together. I've never freaking been with a kid once in Florida. Like, not even close to anywhere in Florida. And that my pockets are full of money, which is kind of a leading question. Like, his pockets are full of what? Like, what are we going to put? Like, I don't know, egg rolls? What's it going to be? So kid puts money, and that's not true too. So I had a little talk with the teacher. I was like, "Hey, how do they fill these out?" They're like, "Well, we lead them in the right direction." I was like, "Well, you led mine in a completely wrong direction."
Right.
To a point where I don't even think this is my son. And he's not leaving this preschool until he gets these right. So he might be 7, 8 years old as a preschooler here in Manhattan Beach.
Why does he think you're 55?
I don't know. It's weird when they ask. The kids are all over the place with the age. I feel like it for sure, but I'm not 55 yet.
This is a story about my son going, we went to Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
He just turned 11. I feel like this is the last year. I saw it like when your son Archie came over last week. Archie all of a sudden has become like this kind of, for lack of a better word, adult. He's like this just adult, like kind of adult in training, 13. Like,
well, to be fair, he was sitting next to Brad the whole day.
well, true. True. But, he passed some line where he just doesn't seem like a kid anymore. I know he's still a kid, but he doesn't seem like a kid. So my son's 11. It feels like the last year where he's still a kid. So we had the Survivor Series, and like the whole week he's like, "Dad, 6 days till Survivor Series." And just every time I saw him and he'd walk over, he had this big look on it, big grin on his face, like, "Dad, 5 days." And I was just thinking, this is probably the last year. I got sad. This is it. Next year he'll be lit. Well, next year it'll be
like
just.
It when he was there? Did it wane a little bit?
No, he had the greatest time, but his excitement for it the whole week. He was honestly like a kid on Christmas, and I was thinking, like, so next year he probably won't be like this, right? Age 12, you kind of lose that little wide-eyed innocence of.
Next year he'll probably be the third match on the card. What do you mean next year? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. If he's still like this when he's like 21, I'm probably in trouble.
Yeah, he's got to just do it. He's just got to go for it.
But we
had NXT champ.
We had this guy who was 2 rows behind us, who nephew Kyle can vouch. Um, he's just one of those guys.
He's definitely there alone.
He was there by himself. He had very long hair. He was wearing a wrestling shirt. He was super loud.
On the phone most of the time.
Running commentary, calling his friends to see if they could see him on TV, trying to start chants. I knew we were in bad. What was the first match, Kyle? Whatever the first match was, he started calling the guy.
It was the girls' match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a girls' match.
Women's?
He started telling somebody that they sucked. And my son was just giggling like Beavis the whole time. And I was like,
Can I, Dad? Can I?
He was like, can I join in on the suck shit? I'm like, no. And then the next match, it was a guy and he starts yelling that the guy, excuse my language, is a pussy. And my son is just laughing and just this guy's crossing every line. And at some point, Kyle and I are looking at each other like, all right, security's going to kick this guy out, right? No.
No.
He's just free reign. He's yelling. He's inappropriate. And everyone in my section hates him except my son, who's giggling hysterically at every terrible joke, every bad word. It was just like his wheelhouse. And I'm going to miss those moments, I guess is my point.
Nah, we'll get it back. I guess we'll just have to have more kids. That's all.
Well, my consolation is someday my son will be that guy 2 rows behind us going by himself. The people behind him.
He's gonna be 6 rows in front of you in the ring. There's no question about it.
He did. I met with I had a meeting with Triple H this week, and we were talking about when my son's working for him in 10 years. Like we were openly joking about it. Like talking about what kind of match do you think will my son be the kind of guy who can call the match in the ring in audible or would have to be scripted out ahead of time. And Triple H was saying you should get him so that he knows how to do both kind of matches where he can audible in the ring, but you also want to have him be able to hammer out the beats beforehand as well. I'm like, all right, I got it. So yeah, there's no stopping it. The last time we saw this was with The Miz on The Real World when he so desperately wanted to be a wrestler that he actually became a wrestler.
That was it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's the way
Mark
to do
Henry
it.
got him to cut down his entrance time, right? To a minute.
Oh, yeah. Mark Henry told him that. He was talking to Mark Henry today backstage about some tips. Mark Henry, I told him my son does a 2-minute entrance. He's like, you got to cut that down to a minute.
That's funny.
One other thing about the crazy guy behind us, there were 2 people behind him who got mad that he kept standing up. Yeah. And this guy's was giving them reaction back. And one of his comebacks was, I'm sorry I paid more money for my seats than you did.
No, that's great.
It's just great. You really get all kinds of wrestling matches. You really do. You get.
Is that even true for 2 rows? I guess
it was 1 row. It was like you're bragging about being an asshole. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Really, it's really something. All right, parent corner. What do you got?
I don't have. Oh, my son, my 13-year-old Archie, had a big science project due on Wednesday, and my wife was going to take him to the library or whatever the equivalent of a library is this day on Tuesday. But he got a call from a friend of mine who wanted to pay him like $75 to do like I think it's like for Buzzer Sports or something, to do a roundup on the Chiefs-Rams game and just like point a phone to your head and give us your best minute on the thing. And he chose to do this instead of the science project. I was like, I'll just let him do it. It's fun. And he ended up being better than I could be. I've been doing this for 15 years, and he did a great job with it. And my wife was furious, but I think he made the right move. Buzzer Sports Buzz Take, and he's on there. And by the way, I added to the drama by on Thanksgiving. We went around, we said what we're grateful for, and I said I was grateful for my sons. My littlest scored 6 goals 3 weeks ago. My middle one won a trophy for getting a blue belt in karate, and then I turned to Archie with this thing with the Buzzer Sports. I was like, well, see, kids, it doesn't matter what you do in school. It's sports, and that was not met with enthusiasm from my mother or my father.
Nobody enjoyed that.
No, they didn't like that too much. That was only like 20% joking.
Well, maybe we have to hire Archie for the Ringer to do a podcast with my son.
There you go. That would be good.
My son gave Creed an A+. He thought it was phenomenal.
He loved it.
Yeah. My parent corner, I actually, for the first time ever, put it on Instagram.
Oh,
I did an Instagram story. We were in Malibu for Thanksgiving on the pier. We went to Thanksgiving lunch at this place in Malibu, and then afterwards there's a store on the pier. And we're in the store, and I see my son, and I know immediately what's going on. It's this big shelf that just has all these letters on it in different colors. And just a lot of different letters. And I see him with this big smile on his face, and he has the letters, and he's trying to find a letter. I'm like, oh my God. So I just pulled my phone out and started taping it immediately. And he was trying to find the F and the U and the C and the K and the U. And he spread them all out, fuck you, on the shelf, and was just laughing like it was the funniest thing ever. And the cashier was completely horrified. And I'm calling him a dick, and I think they were just like, where did this family come from? The bowels of hell, apparently.
You probably left like a 14% tip, right?
No, well, the moral of the story is don't leave just a ton of letters around my son, whether it's Scrabble or anything. It's just gonna go horribly. Let's take a break to talk about theringer.com. I hope you checked out all of our best of 2018 stuff, movies, TV, sports, memes, Mark Zuckerberg, you name it. It's in there. Politics. We did all of it. We have so many pieces. This was the best end of 2018 thing we did. And it wasn't just like a recap of the year. We actually tried to make it so that these were pieces that weren't just like, hey, remember this happened, but actually had some sort of angle. Since we're here, I want to talk about the Ringer Podcast Network. We have an incredible number of podcasts on the Ringer Podcast Network. Like Cousin Sal, Against All Odds, Gambling. Bachelor Party's coming back with Julia Littman. The Bachelor's coming, I think, mid-January, second week of January. Listen to that. Binge Mode. Harry Potter's wrapping up, but we're moving toward Game of Thrones. Channel 33 has Damage Control, as well as The Press Box, and quite possibly a new pod that we're going to add to that soon. Dual Threat with Ryan Russillo. He's been an incredible Ringer addition. Kyle, is he your favorite person you met in 2018?
Met in 2018?
He's in the top 5.
Yeah, it could be top 5 for sure.
House of Carbs with Drunk House.
More Drunk House.
Drunk House came on the pod last week. Larry Wilmore Black on the air. Fantastic. On Shuffle, our music podcast with Micah Peters. One Shining Podcast.
Oh.
Tate and Titus, a podcast so good. Nephew Kyle got a tattoo of it.
Coming.
Shack House with House is coming back in 2018 as soon as golf season gets going. Ringer FC, our soccer pod. The Big Picture, one of our new ads in 2018, our movie podcast, which has been doing really well. And we dive into all of our Oscar stuff. The Dave Chang podcast, forgot to mention that one. Best of 2018 Apple Podcasts pick. He's been great. He's actually, even he has confidence in himself as a host now. I never thought it would happen. The JJ Redick podcast, still cranking along. Winging It with Kent Bazemore, Vince Carter, and Andy Finberg. That's another one. We have the 2 best NBA player podcasts right now. Just pointing that out. The Masked Man is our wrestling podcast. The Rewatchables is my favorite podcast to do. Sorry, this is second. Ringer MLB show is coming back soon. Ringer NBA and the Ringer NFL show. 2 hallmarks. Both of them have been doing great. Villains with Shea Serrano. And then finally, The Watch, the second podcast we ever added on the BS podcast, on the Ringer Podcast Network. The BS podcast was first. The Watch was second. It's in year 22. It came out the same year as South Park, 1996. A lot of people don't realize. Andy Greenwald and Chris Ryan. The world's longest running podcast. 22 years for those guys. Incredible. Check out all that stuff. The Ringer Podcast Network. Find it wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. I don't care. Those are all our podcasts. All right, back to this one. Let's do Parent Corner. What do you got, Sal?
Let's do it. Well, a near catastrophe today. So I had all the kids today. We watched football at Corolla's in this warehouse in Glendale. And I had my little one. I don't usually have my little one, my 4-year-old, Harrison, but he came today. And he's been dressing like the Hulk. He has this Hulk costume, Incredible Hulk, that he wore on Halloween.
Tremendous.
And we got it, I think, October 3rd. He's worn it every single day from October 3rd to, December 2nd. And I'm not kidding. Like, so sometimes he'll wear other things, but eventually he ends up in this costume. So he thinks he's the Hulk. If he gets mad at you, he flexes and makes the noise. Whatever. It's funny. So he's wearing the Hulk costume. But another story is that I've been throwing him passes, and he'll run the length of the couch and then jump at the end of the couch, and I'll time it and I'll throw it to him and he'll catch it. And he'll now we do diving catches. He's only 4 years old, and it's really great. And I'll tell him he didn't catch it when he caught it. And then my other son will record it in slow motion.
Yeah.
And I'll show him why he didn't catch it. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to ask Mike Pereira. Cause when I was doing the college pregame show for Fox, I brought it to Pereira, and he didn't really want anything to do with it. But so anyway, I have this thing where I do them. So now when we bring it to Corolla's, and there's a couch there.
Oh, no.
I'm like, come on, Harrison, show everybody. Now I want to show off for him. And I lead him with a pass.
Oh, no.
And he dives between the two cushions on the couch.
Oh, no.
And he's just he catches it, but the ball goes limp. And I was like, oh, shit, his arms go limp. And I run up to him, and between the couch cushions, unlike my couch, there's a stud for some reason. I think Corolla makes his own furniture or something.
Oh,
so he hires Ray for $4 to make a couch. So he hit his head on this stud, and he wasn't crying. And I'm like, holy shit, this is great. I'm trying to show off with this kid, and this is what happens. I'm going to get in trouble with the old lady. I hope he's all right. This is nuts. And he didn't even cry, but I've never had a kid, let alone a 4-year-old, have a concussion look to him. And he did, but it took him a good 20 Mississippi count, and he finally shook it off and said, hey, can I go play with my iPad now? I was like, yeah, whatever the F you want, do it. But a scary moment for a minute.
You didn't take him to the blue tent?
There was no tent, Corolla. No, I was worried about how that was built too. So I kept him away from any tent at warehouse.
I feel like you have somewhere between 9 and 13 of those with each kid, right?
Yeah. I think that's
some sort of injury or something, or they fall, or something falls in their foot.
Well, what do you think? 3 a year in those early years?
Well, with boys,
More?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I remember in a 12-month span, Ben almost had his finger chopped off on the shower door, and then dropped a huge rock on the beach on his foot and just split his toenail in half. And that was within 11 months of each other.
Yeah, they all knew you at urgent care, right? I remember you and Ben. You guys would go a lot.
Yeah, it was weird. He never broke anything, but had a lot of, those where they start looking side-eyed at the parents a little bit. It's like, you're back, huh? Oh, this time he dropped a rock on his foot. It's like, it's like, no, really, he did.
Well, this would have been my fault. So, yeah, I was a little nervous.
I'm surprised you told that story.
Yeah.
My wife was cleaning out stuff on her computer and found a whole bunch of videos that that our kids did on her computer, not realizing that they thought they had deleted it, but they hadn't. And there's some profane language. Kyle heard it.
Yeah.
Profane language.
Saw a couple birds.
Yeah, a couple birds, and them acting up, not realizing that things get saved on clouds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting life lesson, but here's one of the videos. This isn't that bad, but this is the kind of video I'm going to play it. Hold on.
We're back with Hip Hop Disney with Eeyore. Y'all go make me lose my tail.
That's my son doing Hip Hop Disney Eeyore, but singing it to DMX for some reason. Just
that's all right.
Yeah, just dozens of videos that they thought they had deleted, but they hadn't. And then you realize, oh, this is what you're doing all the time when you disappear. And just the hours and hours and hours and hours and dozens of hours. He probably did 20 takes of that. And it really made me reevaluate my parenting, Sal.
It did?
Neither of my kids can barely do math at all. Mm-hmm. But my son can do DMX as Eeyore for the Hip Hop Disney. So I don't know. Is that a win or a loss for me? Because I can't remember algebra or any of that stuff that we did when we were kids. Can you solve even basic math at this point?
No,
Can you
it's bad.
add?
I have to look it up on the computer now. And I got through calculus 1 into calculus 2, and I still don't know a thing about this new math or anything. It's really bad.
Yeah, this core that they have now where they have to learn.
It's an FU to parents, right?
It really is. You can't help. It's like, hey, we've created
That's
this
all it
new
is.
math. You're not going to be able to help your kids do math.
Mhm.
It's basically, this is all in our hands and you can't help them anymore. So,
Right. Yeah,
thanks.
you just have to fail more kids because we're not going to be able to help you on our end.
Well, they can go fuck themselves because my kid can do an imitation of DMX at Hip Hop Disney as Eeyore. So who's winning?
I love it because
Not
your
them.
kids know they can make videos. You could find them. They have Roger Goodell as a parent. They even if you find the video, it's not gonna do anything.
What do you got for Parent Corner?
Well, I put this on Instagram. People might know about this already, but this elf on the shelf is wreaking havoc again, once again. So the idea is the elf on the shelf. You put it on the shelf. You move it every night. Parents move it every night, and wherever it ends up, it's watching you, and it's supposed to inspire the kids to behave for the last month. Before Santa gets here. All right. The elf goes back and reports to Santa in the middle of the night and then lands somewhere else in your house every day. But it's a pain in the ass to figure out. I put the over under at 2.5 days before I would forget to move it, me and my wife. We made it 8 days, but here's what makes it harder. So I have a 13-year-old doesn't give a crap about this. He knows it's fake. I have a 10-year-old, God bless him. I love him, but he's a simpleton. And he still believes in this stuff. And then I have a 4-year-old. Now, the problem is the 10-year-old goes to bed late. So it's kind of like I'm not in that no man's land. It's like, all right, if you were that old, you shouldn't believe in it. And if you're going to bed that late, you shouldn't believe in it. But you do believe in it. So I have to keep it going. So I can't even set an alarm unless it's like 1:30 in the morning to hide this thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to forget it. So we wake up at and it's always the same thing. My wife will wake up like at 1:30. She's like, "Did you move the elf?" No, I didn't. She's like, "You got to move the elf." Yeah. So I get up and I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to have some fun with this. So I move the elf, and the idea is you can't touch the elf once it lands wherever it lands. If you touch it, it loses its magic, and then you're in trouble with Santa. So I do something diabolical. I put the elf. I place it right on my 4-year-old's iPad. And he wakes up and he's in tears. He's very upset. And now everyone in the family is upset with me. Everyone who knows what's going on. I have to go down and I have to pretend I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. So he's very upset. He can't move it. He knows if he moves it, he's in trouble. And then I go to work and he comes back from school and I hear more crying in the background. My wife's like, I told him that the parents are allowed to move the elf, but the kids aren't. I was like, no. No one's allowed to move that elf. That elf has to stay where it is. I'm the one who woke up and moved it. Well, anyway, I was overruled. There's a new rule implemented, and the parents are allowed now to move the elf. So I can't put it on iPads or TVs or refrigerators or stuff like that. So there you go.
Wow.
More nonsense with the elf on the shelf.
I'm going to tell some retro elf on the shelf stories as my Parent Corner because we don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't miss it. I hated it. I grew to really hate the elf on the shelf's guts. But we had the same thing where as the kids get older and they're kind of like, they hit that point where they're not sure they still believe it, but they want to believe it, but they'll kind of stay up late to see if you're going to go up or if whatever.
Yeah.
And it just gets later and later and later. And one time we both fell asleep and the elf we just woke up the next morning and the kids ran down and the elf on the shelf was in the same spot. And then my wife on the fly just did this whole,
wait, Wife on the Fly is different from Elf on the Shelf?
Wife on the Fly is the spinoff.
I have to order one of those.
So on the fly, my wife flipped it on my kids. It was really incredible. It was one of the most incredible parenting moments I've ever seen. She was like, well, if you had made your bed and cleaned up your room like I asked last night, maybe he would have moved. I was like, that was awesome. Really awesome. And she really sold it and it seemed genuine. But
yeah, it just sucks. It only ends up being a joke on the parents because they don't behave any better.
No, they don't.
That's a dumb thing.
So I don't remember if this was last year or 2 years ago, but I was so fed up with the elf on the shelf and I was so fed up with my wife complaining about it. I stopped participating entirely. I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I don't care if my kids believe in this. If you want to perpetuate this whole thing, and my wife's like, well, you don't understand. Once they don't have this, they're going to grow up and you're going to miss the days when we were hiding the elf on the shelf. And I'm like, nope, I'm definitely not going to miss the days. I know I'm not going to miss any of those days. I'll miss some things, but I'm not going to miss that. So anyway, I finally just told my kids. And they thought I was kidding, but I was like, you realize mom's the elf on the shelf, right? And, because what made me mad was my daughter knew, and she just wanted the elf on the shelf because every day you get a little thing, and she's just interested in what they get out of it. And my son half believed and half didn't, and I just had to break him, so I did.
Right.
And I have no regrets either, so.
Well, the best part is the oldest one is like, he's like laughing at me. And I was like, you dumbass, you believed in this 2 years ago. I don't even want to hear it.
I know. He's like, no, I didn't. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So how long is your middle son going to believe in it, do you think? What do you think the over is?
I'm going to have to tell him, right? Because I just can't, I can't stay up later than him. I have to figure something out.
He's going to be waiting you out, sitting in the living room, just watching.
Yeah. It'll probably be 19. It'll probably be like Amari Cooper's age before he figures it out.
He's going to be old enough to put a drone camera in your living room to try to capture the elf on the shelf moving.
Gotcha.
He's 23.
Well, there is one thing now. For like $3 more, you could buy the elf on the shelf with a cast on its leg. And then the story is, well, he had an accident flying from wherever, so he stays in one place now. So that's a value. There's some value in that person.
Are you making that up?
No, I swear to God. Look up elf on the shelf cast, and you'll see.
I would love to know how this started, why it started, and whether it's just like a total marketing thing. Because like they always said Valentine's Day. I don't know when that became what it would become. But clearly there was some major marketing dollars and merchandising dollars at stake in making Valentine's Day a thing. And I would say Elf on the Shelf is like that too.
Yeah, for sure.
God. I don't miss those days, Sal. It's so funny that you have like 5 more years of it. Moving the fucking elf. You're going to be in your 50s, moving a fucking elf around at 3 a.m. Congratulations. At that point, maybe you'll believe in the Amari Cooper trade though.
It's the same thing, right?
What do you got to plug?
What about your parent corner? Nothing?
No, I did retro. The only one I was going to do, but my daughter is now like 13 and a half. And instead of us yelling at each other, which doesn't happen very often, but now we get in these text fights.
Yeah.
Cause she'll send me a text and she could be like 3 rooms away, but we'll be texting each other. And so that's been a new wrinkle.
Oh, that hurts when it's in writing, right?
Yeah, and then you got to be careful. And then, I don't know, she might write a book someday and she'll be like, and then Dad texted me this. But we had some heated texts back and forth today about her shirking her responsibilities yet again. And
did it end with you saying, I hope you tear your ACL on a wet field?
That did not.
No.
Did not.
Right.
Did not. I did probably blame the city of Irvine for something at some point.
I love it.
That reminds me of all the proceeds from today's podcast are dedicated to the fields in Irvine, California, as they rally to come back from traumatic day and a half of rain. They got it like 3/4 of an inch. So, a lot of careers, a lot of lives at stake. We'll see how that turns out.
Does Irvine have a mayor? It must have like a mayor, right?
The mayor of Irvine. We should have him on next week.
Yeah, we need to have him on.
The mayor of Irvine. Never know. Once those fields get slippery, all bets are off. What do you got for Parent Corner?
Oh, Parent Corner. All right, let me set this up. So we went to Corolla's to watch football, and we got Brad there and Harry, and my friend Ken says, hey, I have to stop over. I'm coming back from Hawaii. Then I have to go to Palm Springs. Where are you watching football? I'm like, well, we're at with Corolla's warehouse. All right. So he goes and he brings like 4 dozen donuts from Hawaii. I don't even remember the name of the place, but they're good. It has like guava cream. He's like, oh, you got to taste this guava cream. He's pushing these donuts on everybody. And then our friend Brad comes in, and he's in a bad mood. And
why is he in a bad mood?
Well, I think he owes some money in taxes. And my friend Ken, who knows everything about everything, is like, well, let me help you out. What do you have? What's going on? And he tells him, I owe X amount. can I pay this off? What do you think? They're like, well, you have a job. They're probably not going to let you take 10 cents on the dollar since you have a job and you've had a job for years. And he's like, why don't you just pay your effing taxes?
Oh, no.
Brad picks up a handful, passes on the donuts because the donuts were good, but takes a handful of watermelon and throws it at Ken, hits him in the chest. He's like, thanks for your fucking advice. And then he goes to walk away, and now it's a scene. Now it's bad, and now I have to separate both of them.
Oh,
And,
Ken was like ready to fight him?
Oh, yeah, and Brad's calling him names, and Ken's calling Brad names, and
And your kids are there?
my kids are there, and this is where it steps in. So we temporarily bring Brad in one. I don't want anyone to go home. Part of me is loving this, but I have to get past this very uncomfortable spot where they want to kill each other, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but I don't want anyone to go home. But Ken's like, it's either me or him. One of us is leaving. I'm like, this is just going to be bad if one of them has to leave. But it kind of has to be Brad because he committed an assault, kind of, and is still angry.
It's a watermelon assault.
Yeah, or he'll throw watermelon on Sunday. Yeah, my wife, I told her to get fruit, and I said, don't get watermelon. It's gamey, but she got watermelon anyway. I don't want to blame her, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Brad's in the other room, and Ken was like, Ken, listen, how about if you just stay on the other side of the room? He's like, no, he threw watermelon at me. I'm not taking that. I'm not sitting here with him. And my son, my 13-year-old, is like, Ken, you know what? I think you went too far with the just pay your effing taxes. You know, I don't think you should have to apologize, but I think you hurt him more than he hurt you. And he like took a step back and he's like, all right, fine. As long as he just doesn't talk to me, that's fine. So my 13-year-old is smarter than all of us, broke into piece between Ken and Brad. And Ken says he's still never talking to Brad again, but that was nice for the rest of the day at least.
What an amazing story.
Yeah, it's nice.
That
right?
reminded me of a little bit of when you and Jeff Ross were feuding for months, and then Tom Cruise heard both sides of the story and then said, you've offended your friend. You have to apologize to him.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, it's like a 13-year-old Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible story.
There you go. I feel like I raised him the right way, just based on that.
What a week for Ken. He had a 10-hour phone call with another man, and he had watermelon thrown at him by a lunatic.
The Codys are really heating up in the fourth quarter. Everybody wants it.
Oh, my God. And then there's our friend Daniel, who was genuinely upset at me that I didn't invite him to the Ringer staff holiday party that was on a Thursday and only had people that worked for the Ringer.
Right.
Just furious.
He's going to hear this, yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be even more upset.
For my parent corner, I have to go get my son. So hold on one second.
Oh, good.
All right. For my parent corner, instead of having me tell you what my son's Christmas list is, he's actually here. He's going to tell us.
Oh, good.
His Christmas list. This is what he's asked for. Do you still believe in Santa or no?
Hell no.
Okay. All right. You did. You believed in the elf on the shelf until a year ago.
Yeah, when Mom told me he was fake
Okay.
in the restaurant.
No, I told you.
No. Oh, wait, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
You want that distinction.
Yeah. All right. Give us your Christmas list, Ben.
Number 1, NXT wrestling figures.
NXT wrestling figures. Any ones in particular?
I want them to make an Aleister Black figure.
Okay. What's number 2?
A gold chain.
Mm-hmm.
A gold chain.
Is it thick? Is it thin?
What kind of a gold chain and why?
I want a thin one to look like Craig Kimbrell for baseball.
Okay.
Wow.
Sounds good. Where do we get a gold chain? Kyle, are you going to help out with
yeah,
this?
we'll find one. We'll find a good one.
All right. Because Kyle's
Does he
been
watch Mr. T? Did he watch Rocky 3? I mean, is that what he's...
Do you want a clock like Flava Flav or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll start with a chain. We'll see if you like it. All right. What else is on the list, Ben?
Baseballs. I need more baseballs because I keep on throwing them over
Throwing them over where?
in the bushes or like over to the neighbor's yard.
So Ben, he plays baseball in the backyard, and you're not going to believe this, but sometimes takes full baseball swings and hits the ball. And they went into the neighbor's yard, and our neighbor who speaks English, but I wouldn't say it's strong, called my wife over and gave her like 12 of Ben's baseballs that were all in their yard that had bounced in their pool and hit various parts of their guest house and things like that. So the neighbor's not a big fan of Ben. What else, Ben?
I know. I want a new glove for baseball too.
Why do you need a new glove?
Cause I writ all over mine.
You did what?
You writ?
I
You wrote all
yeah. I don't have good grammar. Don't judge me.
Okay.
I thought he said I want a new drug. I thought it was a Huey Lewis.
You might-
That was
that's
nice.
next year.
Okay.
What else, Ben?
I want gift cards.
Gift cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You got some PlayStation gift cards and you got the code and you got the WWE 2K19 game
Yeah.
for video. And that was good.
Gotta be careful with the Visa gift cards because then you could just go off the internet. You have specific gift cards.
Yeah. It's got to be like PlayStation
Something specific.
or iTunes. You like the iTunes gift
Yeah.
card. Okay. What else? This is good for your grandparents to listen to this.
I
By the
like
way.
this.
Last thing, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Woo!
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's actually that we've run ads from them, and that was like a generic ad right there. Wasn't even an ad
Yeah,
Nice.
it's the better GTA.
because I haven't allowed you to play GTA yet.
Yeah.
Any New Year's resolutions, Ben? Other than to not be as much of a dick.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay,
That's good enough, I think.
that's
Yeah.
good. All right.
Ben, hold on. Wait, didn't you, wasn't he playing Call of Duty? No, not Call of Duty. What's
Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah. And then what happened with that? I think people want to know. He was suspended, grounded from playing.
Well, yeah, I did get. He threw the controller and it
Right.
bounced off the floor and hit his TV and shattered the screen on the TV. And guess who hasn't had a TV for the last month and a half?
Oh, it really
Ben
has been that
Simmons.
long?
Yeah. He has no
Ah.
TV in his room anymore. Not that he should have in the first place.
Wow. All right. I'm proud of you for having.
What'd you
Hey,
learn
Ben,
from-
you know what you should add to the list? Add the neighbor's house. Then it's easier. Then you don't have to get more balls. You could just, it'll be your house. And
Yeah.
you could get, right? I mean, if daddy really loves you, buy
Yeah.
the house next door.
So that's it, Ben? Any New Year's
Yeah.
resolutions other than not be as much of a dick?
No.
What is there going to be a girlfriend for you next year?
Hell no.
Hell no.
I'm waiting till 16
Oh.
at least.
16.
We'll talk after, Ben.
What are your thoughts on nephew Kyle dating the girl again?
Oh, no.
He's back. The on again, off again girlfriend is now on.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Oh man,
It's fine.
Ben is your homie,
It's
man. He
fine.
always has your back.
I know.
That's your dude right there.
We'll go out
Hey,
and find
what-
girlfriends together.
Yeah.
We'll walk Melrose or something.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll buy you a baseball, Ben.
Ben, thanks for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Good luck getting some of those gifts.
I love it. See you, Ben.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I had him on because one of his Christmas wish list things was a gold chain, and I felt like you
love it.
needed to know that.
That's the best.
He's 11. Do you know anybody who's put a gold chain on their wish list?
No, I really don't. I'm trying to think.
Kyle, what's in my future with that kid?
More gold chains for sure. More than multiple gold chains.
There's going to be a leather jacket soon, too, isn't there?
Yeah.
He's going to be a Chris Moltisanti, I think. I think you got a soprano on your hand.
It's like 25% Italian. All right, parent corner. Let's do it.
Let's do it. My 5-year-old now, my 4-year-old turns 5 next week. It's really hectic with Christmas, but obviously he has to have a separate party with everything else. So we have it at one of these trampoline places, Adventureplex or something, where there's 14 parties going on. So he invites everyone in his class and a couple of relatives, cousins and everything. And he loves the Hulk. He loves everything about the Hulk. He loves the Mark Ruffalo Hulk. He loves the Lou Ferrigno Hulk. We'll watch old episodes. He makes me fast forward through the boring parts of the David Banner. And believe me, there are really boring parts. Like for an hour, he hulks out for like a minute and 10 seconds.
Right.
He hulks out twice, which adds
You're
up to
talking
about
about
a
the
minute.
ones from 40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
He would hulk out at around the 28-minute mark, and
Yes.
then at like the 52-minute mark.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just it's abysmal. We're
Isaac, did you
waiting
ever
for
see
that
those?
to happen.
No.
The Incredible Hulk from 40 years ago.
From 40 years ago? No, I only saw the one that was relatively recent, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Bill Bixby was the Hulk, and he just had a knapsack, right, Sal? He barely had any clothes, and he would
Yeah,
go
he
from
was David Banner. He had a knapsack. He'd rip through his clothes every time he hulked out.
Did they have enough CGI, like
no, they had no
technology
CGI.
improvements?
No.
to-
They had red
no.
contact lenses,
Oh
and then he
my
would make a
God.
face like he was constipated,
I got to check this
Right.
out.
and he would blow through his clothes. But each week he would be working at like a rodeo,
Yeah.
Or he'd be working like on a movie set and then something would go wrong. Somebody would
He
mistreat
was a
an
doctor.
actress.
He was like a scientist, and he didn't want to have problems with anybody, and yet trouble found him every week. Everyone
and it
wanted
was
to
always
kick his
hard.
ass.
But the end of every show was him sadly walking, hitchhiking with the sad, Incredible Hulk music. And it used to tear me apart emotionally. I was just like, God, poor guy can't find a
really
home.
sad. Yeah, and wherever he ended up, it was the same situation the next week.
But those shows are
guy's
really
lonely.
slow, though. I can't believe your son's watching those. They're
Well, he makes me
interminable.
fast forward. He gets mad. He makes me fast forward to the good parts.
Okay.
We know by now. But anyway, you could DVR these, and they're on with those channels in the DirecTV, like 20, 24, 27. They're in there somewhere. But he loves the Hulk, and all he does is talk about the Hulk. He got his Hulk costume for Halloween, like the middle of October, and has worn it every day since. So now we're talking like 70 days straight. He's worn it. So he wants the Hulk at his party. So we hire this Hulk. We find out the morning of the party, something happened to the Hulk costume. I don't know if he spilled something on it or what. He didn't go into details. He can't be the Hulk. I was like, well, what are we going to do here? We already paid this guy $250. He's going to go to a kid's party. He's like, well, I have an Iron Man suit. I was like, all right, my boy's going to be very disappointed, but dress as Iron Man.
Wait, the guy you paid to be the Hulk couldn't be the Hulk?
Never told us why he couldn't be the Hulk. Something happened to the costume, is what it did. And I felt like one more question, I would have been just so disgusted in the answer that I didn't
it
even
sounded
ask
like an amateur porn accident or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What could have spilled on it that would have been satisfactory to me? So I was like, all right, I'll leave it at that. You got your money. What else can you be? He's going to be Iron Man. Great. He shows up as Iron Man. We already warned my kid, and he's like, he's not happy, but fine. Iron Man showing up. So Iron Man shows up, and all the kids attack him. And I didn't even know what he was going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. I thought he was just going to stand in the corner, but no, he brings out balloons. I guess he twists balloons. And I don't know if he was trying it for the first time, but he had this whole this pouch of balloons. He made me hold the pouch, and my kid gets the first balloon. It's his party, and he says, "I want a green balloon." So this guy has 3 green balloons out of 100. So he pulls out the first green balloon. He starts twisting it and breaks it immediately. And then he starts on the second one, makes me fish through this pouch. I get the second balloon. Same thing. I was like, dude, you only have 1 more green balloon. And by the way, this is taking like 3 minutes per balloon. And there's 12 kids asking for a balloon. So do you want me to help? I was like, how about you take your gloves off? And now he's not supposed to speak, I guess. I said, take your gloves. He's like, no, that would ruin the costume. I was like, all right, let me twist the balloon then. I just saw what you did. It wasn't that spectacular. I think I could do it. He's like, nope, I'm twisting the balloon. Third balloon pops. That's it. No more green balloons. My kid eventually gets a purple balloon, and then 2 other kids get a balloon, and then they're throwing us out of the trampoline place because it's too late. So I forgot to tell you, he showed up 20 minutes late because he was putting his costume on in his car, and it took forever. So there you go. So I don't know what the moral is, but I walked away from that party, much like David Banner with the knapsack on, the sad music playing in the background.
I have an important question. Was the guy Brad?
I should have hired Brad. Why didn't I just get a costume and hire Brad? It could not have been worse.
Why didn't you just hire Brad, give him $200 to paint his face green? And he could have he already has the clothes post Hulk rip. Where his wardrobe
depending on the
looks
time of day, he may not have even had to paint his face.
Oh God, I don't miss those birthday days. The other one, the other classic is the bouncy castles, where it's just somebody's getting like a mild concussion. You know, you have the 22 kids just flying around in a bouncy castle. We put our kids in like car seats, and we go out of our way to just protect our kids at all time. And then we throw them in this unsanitary bouncy castle, and they just ricochet off each other completely uncoordinated and bang heads, knock each other's teeth out. It's all fine.
Right. Yeah. Best case scenario, you come out of there with like a 4-day flu.
Right. It really is it is like Germ Central. It's whatever what was that movie? Outbreak?
Yeah. Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. It should have been starting in a bouncy castle and not from meat. It should have just been a bouncy castle in LA.
I've seen how they wash those down. It's not very, they take some bounty and they, I think they lick it and then they wipe the walls.
They use saliva to wipe it up.
Yeah.
So last week we did Parent Corner and my son gave his Christmas list.
Oh yeah.
A couple days ago, got an email from Mattel saying, "Hey, we heard your son's things. We want to send him some advanced WWE toys."
Oh boy.
So I make the mistake of telling my son this.
Mm.
You can imagine how it's gone since.
Does Mattel make gold chains?
That would have been even better. Dad, when are they coming? Dad, did they say when they're coming? Why do kids ask the same question 735 times? Dad, did you check your email? No, I told you it's going to be early January. Dad. So anyway, so I have that soapbox going. But my wife decided to get this big Monopoly game. Really nice, like wooden Monopoly that you can put on a table and it actually looks like part of the table.
Yeah. Nice.
Looks cool. So my wife's parents are here and I'm watching football in the back and everyone decides to play Monopoly. And my son decides he's going to be the banker. Do you want to finish the story? Can you imagine how this one, knowing what you know about my son, how do you think this went with my son as the banker?
I don't think he ripped himself off anything. That's for sure, right?
No, he helped himself liberally to money to the point that my wife got mad at him and pointed out that he has his own pile he's not allowed to pull from the bank. And then he said that you're the banker, you're allowed to get paid when you're the banker. And everyone explained no. And then he got mad and ended up storming off. And that's how the Monopoly game ended.
That was it?
Yeah, he was embezzling from the bank for 20 to 25 minutes and finally got called out on it. Screaming match with my wife and then stormed off. So there you go. It's yet another example of why he's going to be living at home till he's 40.
Monopoly is 6.5 hours long when you have a legitimate banker.
Right.
When you're arguing with the banker, it goes into the 3-day session.
My son is a banker. Sounds like a YouTube series, like a YouTube comedy series where he's the banker for important Monopoly matches. Not even positive he knows how to add.
By the way, he's going to be testing toys for Mattel. I hope you put 2 and 2 together here, right? Get him that job.
Oh, like that Ryan's toy thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they said they had some new ones that hadn't come out yet, which that's really the secret sauce for my son. That's even good. If he's getting it like 4 hours before other people, he feels like it's, 17 years ahead.
And you're cool in his eyes. That's great.
Yeah, I'm definitely not cool in his eyes. But this was, by the way, I'm surprised he hasn't barged in to ask me it again. So Christmas, you have to be waking up at, I don't know, what time are you going to get up to put the presents under the tree?
Well, we do it the night before, but yeah, these kids go to bed really late now too, so it's stupid. But yeah, we'll probably wrap and put them under at like 1:30 and probably be up at 6:37. What about you?
God. Well, now my kids know that, that nobody's coming down the chimney.
But do they know not to open the gifts until you
wake
up?
We wait till Christmas.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
It's weird. The Tuesday Christmas, kind of like it. It's you end up with basically the whole week off. Who's going to go back to work this week?
I have to work tomorrow. I work Christmas Eve.
Oh, you're doing Lock It In.
We're doing Lock It In. Yeah, we have to go over all our big bowl games this week. There's a lot going on.
We scaled it back in the Ringer, right, Isaac?
Yeah, it's only me on the podcast side, at least.
Yeah, Isaac's
he's
going for some sort of award at the Ringer. He does it all, man.
That's great. Listen, if you're short-handed there, I know a really shitty Iron Man who could use a few hours.
He was the backup for this. What's the next song, Isaac?
The next song, I don't know.
We got to do one.
A lot of people have been tweeting at me with suggestions, and they're mostly Clippers related because I'm a Clippers fan. But I don't know, maybe something with Boban.
God, so I took my son to see the Clippers the other day.
Yeah,
the Luka Doncic game.
That was a bad beat for you, right?
Yeah, it was a tough one. Yeah, they didn't cover by a half point, the Mavs. Boban, first of all, it's like for little kids, he's got to be one of the 5 most powerful. It's like Curry's 1, Giannis is 2, LeBron's 3, and Boban's probably 4. Ben, all he wanted was Boban to come in the entire game. And then he came in, he played well. He karate chopped some dude and got a flagrant foul. Ben, I've never seen him happier with anything that's happened in a sporting event. And then Boban got fouled and was at the line shooting free throws, and the entire Staples Center chanted MVP.
Really?
Yeah. And Ben was going nuts. Boban, he thinks so. Maybe, but Mattel last week, maybe Boban this week. Maybe Boban will reach out.
Wow. Maybe Mattel can make a Boban action figure for him.
Oh my God. Could Mattel do that?
Maybe, yeah.
We could do anything.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.